Hey YouTube, how's it going out there? It's going to be Donald coming to you from Pinku Style, Massage, Japan. Been away for a little bit. Not going to apologize because I'm just busy out there. You guys know that. And while the podcast is a good thing out there, you guys, I like bringing them to you. I'm going to be straight up honest. Like, haven't got any questions from you guys and things like that. And, you know, the thing about it, I tell everybody out there, man, the level of what you put into things, just like, you know, I guess what you get out of it for the most part. And I got the business stuff going on, so I got to put my all into the business. So when I get the feedback that the podcast has definitely been received, really, it's been received okay, but I needed to be honestly more supported before I put more time into it. And again, that's only done by you guys out there and everything. So definitely go ahead and send your questions to Pinku Style Podcast, topics and things like that. And more engagement from you guys means it's going to make me want to do it more. I got a guest in finally. A few of my other guests came out and everything. So we'll get to that in a second. So again, send the questions there and everything. Everything's been going well. Still breathing, still living and everything. A lot has happened since the last time we talked. You know, the Kobe Bryant ordeal, the Carlos Ghostson deal. A lot of stuff has happened. So anyway, this is my guest right here. Let him introduce yourself in a second, and we'll get right into it, man. So just go ahead and tell him your name, where you're from. And
I'm Manuel Brown, and I'm originally from Southern California, basically from Riverside, California. Moved around a lot, military brat, and also I joined the service too as well. So currently stationed in Japan, in Misawa, but I'm actually going to be moving soon. Got a unique assignment in the Air Force going to NATO base in Poland, so I'm really excited. It's just a new transition and a chapter in my life.
Yeah, no, that's my turn. Like, talk to you, man. But so yeah, man. So like we met like you came. When did you came to Masawa again in
2017?
2017,
yeah.
And like it was I brought it up before, man. It's like you came here and like I guess probably within the first 72 hours you were here, you had stopped by the shop, I believe, and not sure if that's correct or not, but I know you stopped. It was early on when you first got here.
Oh yeah, like I was still in lodging, and the funny thing is that I'm in lodging now, so doing an outro. So
yeah, so you start like you said, you seen the video and everything. Or?
Yeah, so I saw the videos when I was actually stationed in Kunsan, and definitely been in the cars for since 2000, and definitely enjoyed the car community. I know time goes on, people have families, and a lot of people that are my age now have gotten out of cars just due to the fact that just higher cost. I mean, it's not as, it's just over the years, man, it's just these cars become more valuable in money, and it's more expensive. So literally it's just like the diehard fans into cars are usually the ones that kind of stay to it. I kind of just took my time on things. I was always learned to be patient, not to spend all the money the first thing that I did see, just to thoroughly think things out. But yeah, well, not on get on a side note, but so I first started seeing your videos when I was actually on Kunsan. Usually it's just one channel led to another, and so when I got to Masawa, I was like, I thought you were like more in like down south, like central, and I was like, wait a minute, that's in Masawa. And so I called you up, man, and I was just, you were giving me some I just want to know what the car scene here, what shops and services, because I did bring my R32 from Okinawa to Kunsan to here. And so I was definitely looking for to get some more work done and reparations and restorations to it, just because, it's a Japanese domestic market car, never exported. The best place you can get like work done to is in, in Japan.
Right. Yeah. So that was for me, man. It was not using an example to kind of like not shame people, man, but it's like, you were here, you just got here, came from lodging, came and visited, and at that time I was open for about a year or two, and you visited, and you're not even like, you just got here, so it's guys that are here that ain't come by, and the thing, like I say with the whole podcast and I open up and everything, man. I think some people expect a lot of things, but then for no support, man, it's like you can't expect a guy to give like major discounts on stuff, and some guys do. They come here, especially the drifters, that kind of egg on those guys a lot, because drifting is a different kind of culture where there's so much carnage and so much destruction naturally that a lot of guys don't have the money to keep the car going. So they want to get everything as cheap as possible, hookups and stuff. And I'm like, look, I can't give you a hookup if you never come here for work or no support, man. I give hookups and relatively speaking, to people who are going to like, if you're putting a certain amount of cash into the business, then I can, it's a give and take, and it's just not all give, not all take and everything, man. So that was, for me, I was like, you initially called, and I kind of like that first phone call is like everybody that I first talked to. That first time I'm like kind of really defensive because I don't know where it's going to go. And then like you came right over after they've called and everything. And I was like, all right, this guy's a little different because normally they'll put a lot of time in between it. I'll get to it and everything. And it's like, look, man, like if you're serious about it and stuff like that. Then I learned you had a Supra back in the States and it was built up and everything. So what got you? What was your spark? Like your very, very first spark of dealing with what got you into cars, like to liking them?
So what got me into cars actually was actually, like you seen kind of the cars as a kid, like playing the old Gran Turismo, I believe 1997. Of course, when I remember seeing the cars as a kid, living in Okinawa. I did grow up in Okinawa, and like, I still actually have some of the die-cast toys. Like my dad got me a Midnight Purple R33 that I still have today from Toys R Us when I was like, 10 years old at the time. And so seeing it, you're like, all right, cool. These are sports cars, just like any kid, like in Hot Wheels and stuff. But I think, not to sound cliche or like everybody else, but where we probably really sparked it was too, because like actually bringing highlight by Fast and the Furious, because really in the 90s, other than Southern California or maybe on the East Coast, no one really knew as much about these import cars.
Right.
Like the Supra started getting more fame after they discontinued sending them to the United States, because at the time, the market, like people are like, well, that's a nice, sports car, but why would I pay $45,000 when I could buy a C5 Corvette of something that I know? Right. And just at the time, it was just predominantly more of American muscle, domestics, and there was just a small import community. But with Paul Walker and the movie Fast and the Furious, the highlight man, and definitely a great fan of Paul Walker. It's just he really had a passion and love for cars, and he was also really a down-to-earth person. So it's just kind of someone in the car community really looked up to, and so that's where really my passion grew. And plus I always loved the way the Supra looked. And I'm not like, I still love the way the the orange Supra looks, and now considered these days standards. People may say it was nice then, but styles change over time, and it's like now considered more ricey. But I don't care. It's a Supra, and Supra's always, like, as a kid, was always my dream car, and I'm blessed to have one.
I don't like you brought up, man. A lot of people feel like bad about the reason why they're into it is, man, dude, talk about the new ones they're out there. They're far from Fast and Furious 1, 2, and 3. In Tokyo Drift for me is like that's kind of like where the core. Yeah. And then after that it's just like Michael Bay stuff, man. It's just like explosions and jumping, and that ain't really so the new guys will get into it. So it's new kids that they pick. They're born. They get coherent around Fast and Furious 7, so they think they don't know what Fast and Furious 1 was and everything. So now they maybe go back like, oh, this is boring. Like that was actually street racing. Yeah. And so Gran Turismo again. For guys out there that don't know, just watching this the first time, Gran Turismo is what sparked my catalyst. Which I'm like, man, what's up with these? Why is the Supra and the Skyline and R34s? Why they cost that much? And then the Nissan Powell is 5,000 or whatever, 5,000 credits. Then I come to realize I start doing research, and then you see that. So Gran Turismo is single. That's why they're all downstairs. That game is single-handedly responsible for what I do right now. Then come later. Awesome. Because I didn't have. I found a group of friends and that expedited it, and then I got into Initial D around 2002. That got me into drifting. So I got into what I do by just media. And at that time we came out, man, we were both around the same age. So it's we came into the game right around the time where now you can go online and talk to stuff back in those guys' day. Back in the 80s, they just had manuals and there was no internet. There was if you're doing a build over here in Milwaukee, nobody's ever going to see it unless you guys all go to the same drag strip or whatever. And there's no build sheets. There's no the stuff now. So it's good, but then it's bad because we talked about, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a car. Everybody wants to, it's me. And for me, man, I don't even, one thing I don't do now is when guys post up, and it seems kind of like you're talking downward to people, but now it's like, oh man, post up your car. I'm like, dude, I got 25 cars. Only 7 of them run, but I do own one of each make, and it's I'm not gonna be like that guy and people do that. They got Ferraris and stuff, and they post them. I'm like, dude, I got what I got. I know I have it. I know I got S2000. I know I got multiple Skylines. I don't feel a need to go online and like, hey man, I got all this stuff and I feel like a cool guy. Yeah. So I don't participate in those anymore because I just don't, man. Because I can post one of each and it's like, oh, I got this one too, and then you look like a jerk after a while. Like, all right, cool, dude. We know you got cars. Like, stay away. But hey, man, for your Supra, like, tell me a little bit about like how you know which model did you get and how did you why did you? So we talked about it before, but
so this was back in 2003. So I was 16, about to turn 17, and went with my parents, and we went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to a Red Line dealership. So I found an NA Supra because my choice at time and the way that the budget was, the things that we could afford was just like, it was either 15 grand for a ragged out twin turbo Supra, right, or it was a nice NA 5-speed hardtop. Right. And at the time, it was like, for me, I'd choose condition over the car, actually the chassis, right, rather than something that's just been the baseline. And it was a special edition pearl white 1995 Toyota Supra. I believe the car originally came without a wing, but it did have a factory installed TRD wing. And so I got that for $15,500 because that was the budget range. And then when it started coming to the bills, it just took time. My first job was bagging groceries at the commissary. I was
the military,
the military brat. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. If you guys don't know what the commissary is, it's a grocery store on base that on military.
Not the commissary not in jail, man. Like,
and so and basically my job was based off working for tips, and for how much work that you did and getting customers, that was determining how much you would get. Again, it was just money into your pocket, instant cash that day for tips, which is legal,
right?
And so it all started from there. First thing I did was save up for 2JZ GTE motor, because during that time there was only one turbo kit offered, and I believe it was F Max for the NA Supra.
Right.
But by the time I would spend $4,000 for a turbo kit that would only give me 320 horsepower, I deemed it more suitable for buying a JDM motor, and I found one out of an automatic Aristo, and it was $3,000. I believe it was from I did buy it from an importer that sell parts. I forgot the name of the company, but
yours is non-VVTi.
Yeah, it's non-VVTi, and so due to the fact that I'm only a teenager, soon to be an adult, working at the commissary and Cinnabon, it just slowly came together. I did save up $3,000. Me and my dad, pretty much my dad mentoring me because he's a mechanic, but me and him, it was a good bonding moment. We swapped the motor in the car. I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, it's mostly him doing it, and I'm just kind of just handing him the tools and the strings. But it was great bonding moments. I bought steel pipe U-bends from JC Whitney, and my dad welded actually the pipes together to make the intercooler and painted it black. So for a while I had a poor man's twin turbo, I'd say. So it was the Aristo motor, a GTE motor with the stock 5-speed W58.
Okay.
And so that was basically the setup for, I don't know, good most of my enlisted career, when I did 4 years when I was enlisted. And then when I got out of the military for college, that's when I met David Stevens.
Okay.
And right now, at 2JZ Motorsports, he's been definitely a great, I say, businessman friend, and he's been taking care of me. And to this day, definitely he's actually watching my Supra, but he did the advanced build and the tuning, the install with everything and making my, dream Supra.
Right. But it's cool. It's cool how it comes together, because like I said, I haven't talked to him, but I sent the parts to him and everything. So I know we'll talk when the car gets there. We'll probably be like, hey man, some stuff about, even though that's business to business is acceptable. Yeah. When another business contacts you and like, hey, that's a courtesy. But when like a random guy just contacts you, because we got to protect ourselves, because if you start like offering out like tech advice, then like some people they like, oh, that's cool, and I've done it before. Then I had to tell one guy recently, I'm like, look, if I gave him a little secret about the Supra, which I'm pretty sure is already disabled in yours, which has the multiple speed at 3,000 RPMs or 3,000. It gives you like 9 something volts to the fuel pump. Then after 4,500 RPMs, it gives you the full 12 volts. Well, with Link ECU, Haltech, Link more than it's a fault with Link. Haltech I think is good, stock is good, but like I gave him a little tidbit and everything. It's like, all right, man, it's hot wired. Then he's like, then the floodgates open. I'm like, nah, man, I gave you a little like that's like Google. You can Google that. So I know what's on Google. I know what's not on Google as far as open knowledge. So if it's something that's common knowledge, I'll tell him if it doesn't take more than a second to explain. But again, if Dave hits me up or whatever, I'm pretty sure we'll do some kind of business together. So that's cool, man. Like I said, I never knew, and it's not to say bad about the shop, but I never heard of a shop until like I got involved with you or whatever, and you start. So now it's like I know him, he'll know me, and then we'll eventually do. And that's just the way it goes, man. Everybody stays a circle, man. 1 second, man. We're upstairs, everybody, right now. And I just turned the space heater on because it's still the snowing. It's not hitting us. The snow is really, really a dull winter, so I'm not complaining. It comes and it goes pretty quickly, but I think we got about one more good one in there. You'll probably be gone and everything. So all that stuff, man. But anyway, so you got the Super was there. Then like far as when did you get your R32?
So I got my R32 back in 2013, and actually the guy that I bought it from, we're still really great friends to this day. And actually, Donnie, he watches your channel too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So he really likes it too. He's like, oh man, you know that guy from Pinku Style. I'm like, yeah, dude, he's awesome. I was like, I wish both of you could meet. Definitely, he's a great friend.
What's his name?
Sandon Davis. And he bought I bought the R32 from him, and definitely we always, every time I go back to Okinawa, we hang out. Definitely a great driver. Mm-hmm. I used to roll with him at times during the times I had off on the weekend, being stationed there. We go like a little bit of togaing up north of the island in Okinawa. So definitely when he drives the R32, it totally feels completely different than when I do it.
Yeah.
So, but he makes any car. He's one of those guys that can make any car fun. But he's a good friend. Definitely, I think the greatest thing about being in the car community, it does link you to the right people. Yeah. And I think what's more cherishable is not only the car, it's not someone who's always the build, but the people you meet along the way. Yeah. And so, I mean, he's definitely good, long life friend, and definitely Okinawa's always been second home. Yeah,
I want to get. Is he currently still there? Or?
Oh yeah, he's ex.
So he's out.
Yeah, he's ex-military. Okay. Yeah, he was a HH-60 mechanic.
Okay.
Worked at a 33rd.
So I'll definitely I'll remember when I go down there. So pretty much I gotta. We know a bunch of the same because Okinawa is small.
Oh yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Bill of B&M and all those guys, and do you know Tony Arakaki? He's like one of the top drifters there. Filipino Japanese. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah. I don't know him personally, but it is a small island.
It's small, but then Tony's never there. Tony's always in Europe and up in mainland and everything. So he kind of like. It's like one of those. I'll have him on, man. We'll definitely talk, man. You'll probably when you see his face, you've probably seen him. You probably passed right by him. You probably bought parts from him before. But he's one of the guys that just emerged as one of the top drifters from Okinawa, and it was because he went to mainland. So when you go to mainland and drift, Okinawa is, because it's so small, there's not really much high speed there. And then but one thing Okinawa has better than everybody is drag cars. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because it don't take that. I mean. Even though it's small, it's still big enough to go straight in the fast line. So one guy, I know the guy Chance, did you know him? Had the I never met him. I know of him. He has an R32 and it was pretty crazy, big single turbo. He was a contractor, white guy.
What color was it?
I believe it was silver. But he had I think he even came up to mainland and was beating cars because his car was that. It was so at the time the turbo was so big he had to. His last name is Chance, I know for sure, and he was part military, but turbo was so big, and at the time with the manifold, whatever they had, they actually had to cut a divot out of the valve cover to allow the turbo to fit there. So they had to cut it and make it like a U shape so the turbo can pass. So the turbo passes through the valve cover. So it was that big. So anyway, I know a lot of the drag cars are on there, but for far as drifting, if the guys that are the best ones down there are the ones that migrate to mainland, but that takes money to send a car over there, or somebody over there. And then I know that there's like a big divide between. I've never been to Okinawa, but I've heard like they don't like to be called Japanese or
because they're traditionally Okinawa, the old kingdom, was referred to Ryukyu. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, and kind of with the American pronunciation, but it used to be its own kingdom back in the day. And I'm kind of a history buff too. And the interesting thing is that island is only 68 miles long, and I believe 14 miles wide at its widest points. But a few hundred years ago, before the Central Kingdom unified the whole island, there was 3 separate kingdoms on an island that's 68 miles long. So could you imagine that? It doesn't seem that small though when you're actually there. It's very compact.
Have you been to Hawaii before?
No, I haven't. Other than just traveling the airport.
So I mean, it seems like it's kind of. It seems like I've never been to Guam, Hawaii, or Okinawa, but it seems like they all got their small cluster. Because Okinawa, like you got the main, but it's also a bunch of small little, like I guess like the main island and like small little outposts and everything around it. So
like even there's a smaller island chain like if you look on the map like towards the west, you can take the ferry from Naha, and I went to the Kurama island chain. So there's other smaller island chain.
Like there was one where I guess it's like straight up and there's no people in it, and like structures are still there, but I think is that the one down there with the cat island? Is that down there too? Where there's this full of cats, no people, but it's just cats there. And and it's like one mailing post and like maybe 20 people, and it's just cats all over
everywhere.
Yeah, cats everywhere.
That sounds something familiar, but I don't know if that was.
I think that might be. I think that might be the ones that are right below like Fukuoka, like the Fukuoka. Then there's like a few little small, because people don't know, man. They just see Japan, Tokyo. Yeah, like dude, there's more to Japan than mainland, and then there's. Like out the mainland, right off the mainland, there's like little branches of like little outposts that surround the Japan that people don't. Is like little blips on the map, and they don't see that stuff, man.
Just like Ishigaki Island, and I mean, there's Japan has so many islands, and it's like even every different prefecture has its own different versions of its own internal culture and foods and different scenic things. I mean, it's very interesting dialect too. Being in northern Japan. But one thing is, and I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I kind of grew up in Japan, more of like in Okinawa, but it's just being in my life living in Japan 3 times in my life. I love it here. Like I can't speak for every other country that I've been to. I've been to a few other countries, but Japan is very unique. And I mean, where can you find somewhere where it has a vending machine out in the middle of nowhere? You see it on initial B, like you could pull over on a highway and it's like, wow, I wonder who fills these up. Like in Okinawa, there was like basically a standalone vending machine on one of the small islands that you can drive through called Ike Island. And it was like, there was nothing else but like farming fields, but there's a solar power standalone vending machine unit, not plugged in anything. It's like on the edge of the sand. You'd almost be like, man, if you're dehydrated, you'd think you'd be seeing a mirage. Yeah. But it's just very convenient. And I got a drink from there, and it was like nice cold water. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all around in the well, now that I got my own vending machine and stuff like that. There's this guy is the guy in the cola trucks, and he's 1 week or every week he goes through there and fills all the stuff up, man. I just posted the other day about the like speaking of vending machines, like you get the canned corn, I had the canned like French onion soup. Like, and it just tastes like your mom made it, and it's in a can and it's hot already, and it's like Japan has its every place has issues, and especially if you travel. Like I said, we talked about, I've been to Iraq, you've been around. I've been Germany. I've been to all these. I guess when you leave, like you're California based, but you see all the world, you can actually compare and contrast in your mind. Well, that sucks. This sucks. Oh yeah, this is cool. That's cool. So people who don't leave anywhere, they don't go anywhere. They don't have that ability. We do by being military. First time I went anywhere was on a plane to Texas. First time I went anywhere, I think like Atlanta, Florida was like the as far as driving. Mm-hmm. So like pretty much New York, Connecticut, like just right up on the East Coast. So until I joined the military, I never left. Like I never been to Midwest. Never. never been anywhere further than like I guess the furthest over I could say would probably be like Florida, and that's like down and out.
Yeah.
So, when I first went to Texas, it wasn't like a culture shock because I always did travel in the East Coast. Because some people they just stay in Baltimore. We always would hang out in their areas because honestly, it's not like a race thing. It's just the white guys had the cars. We in the city, it was all about Crown Vics and Marauders and like guys they think they got fast V8s. They're just big 4,000-pound boats. And all the guys who want to be drug dealers had all those cars. I'm like, we were into Civics, and they were like, what's this little? And then we would like murder them on an underpass with a B18.
That power to weight ratio, man. You make Hondas fast, man.
A GSR swap EF Civic, and it's like, and you just like they think they're going, and you're like, and then but it's not. And then the thing is just because you got more power to weight than they got. They got a lot of weight. They got power, but it's 5,000-pound boat.
Oh man.
So, but anyway, kind of like that's like it's a podcast go all over the place, man.
No,
but
man, to bring back memories, man. It's just like I could probably just go on a tangent about just bring back car memories, but man, the experiences, man, back in life is just like really fun.
Yeah.
And just seeing the evolution, the car culture, it's. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it definitely changed over 20 years. You can really see a huge difference if you've been in the car community for so long.
It's just one of the things is kind of was creating is all of those who started with social like because I know you're not on Facebook and all that and stuff like that. And you have your reasons for not being on it. There's other stuff like I said. I got the app and stuff for guys who want to communicate. But there's like I got into the game. Again, it's crazy, man. I'm 37 in like a few weeks.
Wow.
And it's like
man,
now
you look 37.
Yeah,
man.
it's like so it's like I'm 37.
Cool, man.
37 in a few weeks, dude. I'm 37 and I own a shop in Japan, dude. Like I could stop like today and be accomplished, man. And that's not my thing. And when you kind of look back, man, and that's why I get aggravated with some guys because I'm like, look, man, I've been doing literally bleeding, like losing sleep, doing all this stuff, man, spending a lot. Dude, if I add everything up, I had millions of dollars I've spun in this thing over 20-something years. And so it takes time to get to that point. And like people like the new guys, they come in the game and they just want everything now. And they don't want to go to begging groceries to save for a super swap. They just want everything right now. It's a little bit better economical. You can make money. PayPal. Yeah. So anybody can make something that people want and sell it. And that's where today is different. Like you can actually make the hardships of past. Like you didn't have PayPal, you couldn't make your own money. You had to go work for somebody else. So you can do a lot of different things now. So there's avenues out there to make cash or do what you got to do. So the excuses that guys bring up, that's I guess the newer generation of guys because they have more advantages than we had.
Yeah,
when we started. So that is that divide. So now it's like before our time, there was the guys with the V8s and all that stuff, and they ran online, and so when a digital came out, there was like a digital divide, and they was like, I do everything by a screwdriver and that Haynes manual and that Chilton's manual. I don't want to go online and do all that stuff. So then we became like the digital tuners with Haltech Link and all that stuff coming out, and then now there's like the new dudes that they're the plug and play culture. Like nothing wrong with plug and play, but everything is built already. You go on the websites, you go on the Real Street or whatever, all these sites. Oh, I want a manifold for this, T4 this, blah blah blah. You just go down the menu and click, and you got a kit, and it's done. Back in the day, you had to go to 5 different stores to buy stuff, man, and you've been through that. Yeah. So now it's just it's more convenient, and they want everything now. So it's I hate to keep bringing up Joe Rogan because he got enough pub. He's good. Mm-hmm. But he was like, he was saying something like that. I guess easy times create weak people and hard times create strong people. So like now, everything is available. Everything's out there. Everything is easy. Everything is like linked to everything here is linked to this phone that right in front of me. I can control everything. I can check my email, do business, and so it gets more easy. And they want that direct contact, but it's like there's a protocol. We're old school, new school, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
We're not old school and everything like a few other old heads here that are around in Masawa. But that's the cool thing to see, man. It's just there's going to be different trends, different generations, different things like that. But what we do is like we're going to be locked into that. So it could be 2055, you're still going to have that super. you're still gonna have the R32.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then
it's just a blessing to meet the people along the way, because like at 2JZ Motorsports with David Stevens, he, like I said, business friend. He's really made the dreams come true. Awesome guy.
I'll make a note to make contact with him, man.
Awesome guy, man. He and definitely it's. Even being overseas, I can't bring a US spec Supra with me overseas.
That'll be
offering that service, man, of him just driving it out, and plus, he did that work to it. And usually when you're like a great, I say tuner or a car builder, that's marketing. That's like his signatures on that. That's his work of art. And the same thing with you.
Pop the hood,
and now since it's going stateside, my R32 will be going to him too. Yeah. So. And of course, the addiction feeds on. When you're a car guy, you're like, you always want more. It's not done.
But I will say, man, the work Igarashi-san did on the car, man, is definitely, we talked about offline. I won't really bring that, the general, but that's a stamp of his work. People see that, man. It's like the clean, like it's as a colleague, man. He's gonna see David's gonna see it like, yeah, man, this is clean work, and everything, man, And same thing, man. I get random messages back from guys like, "Hey, man, I took my car to the shop, man, and they loved like your marks." I put like, for example, some things like I put like a date on it, and for a mechanic, man, like you take the valve cover off, I'll put like a little mark like this was done on February 22nd, and I'll write like on the back of the cover something that you're not going to see it, but they'll take it off like that. That's like, so he knows that this was changed on February 22nd at 1500.
Yeah,
and like for a guy that's like, oh man, well nobody's gonna really write that for no reason. Yeah. So I do things like that, and then I'll get messages like, hey man, like your work is good, man. You got your marks everywhere. Everything was tight, and I was like, all right, cool, thanks, man. Like it's like I do that because somebody like, even if you do something to a car and it's there for 15 years, you sell it or whatever, eventually somebody's gonna service that area and see it, man, and then like. You could be having a great shop for 10 years and then like, hey man, like I paid you $4,000 10 years ago to do this, man, and it was like this was you did this, and that could actually come back to bite you in the ass, man. And people don't, that's the way I do it, man. I just, like I said, we talked downstairs, just keeping it. I think if you keep it 100% straight up, you don't ever have to backpedal out of anything.
Oh no.
So the first time you start doing it, then it becomes, oh man, I gotta tell them this, I gotta tell them that, I gotta tell them I gotta make up a lie to why the part ain't here or whatever. Then you get into like shops like Titan, it's out there, it's public, like I guess Titan Motorsports or whatever. Not slandering anybody, but like the things that was put out there, like they were using customers' money, they were taking customer cars and taking parts off of this car, putting it on that car. Then you keep doing that. You do that 13 times. Now you got 13 cars. You got to put parts back on, and stuff like that, man. If I got all these GTRs, I will never take part off of one of these GTRs to get another GTR running. Yeah, you're gonna wait for that part to come in, and then we'll deal with it. But I would never do that to another customer car, and they know that because I do startup videos every Monday, so they just know that, hey man, I wonder if my engine's still in my car because it's stored for 2 years, so they know I got the skill set to pull the engine out, use it, and then put it on the back. I would never do that, man. I would never take a valve cap off of somebody's car. I would go to the store and buy a pack of valve caps at $5. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I'm pretty sure you feel the same way about David and your car. And
they're in good hands. Yeah. I mean, definitely, it's been a blessing too. Like even with the R32, same thing. It's like the Dave Stevens of Japan is SSI Engineering. Igarashi-san, for the builds he does, man. Yeah. He's a super humble guy. The only thing is I wish is I could speak more Japanese. And he's a very down to earth. I mean, we got great people here. I mean, it was you, Donald. If it wasn't for you, like from the get-go, like you provided a lot of indirect service that gave me guidance. And I mean, you took the time out of your busy schedule for one-man shop doing all this. Yeah. And it was just a blessing because even with kind of the legal aspect and rules in Japan about exporting a vehicle, because I would have shot myself in the foot because if I just let it sat and then I didn't know you actually had to get, I'm like, it's got a title, could you reship again? But you actually had to get a new title. And Donnie was the one that just gave me that information as a heads up, and actually ended up and it was because of Igarashi when he was doing the bid. He was the one towing my car back and forth to Land Transportation Office, getting it re-registered. So he went out of my way. I mean, he went out of his way to take care of me, and it was great. I think it's just my experience here in Japan, because I met some really good people, and it's not so much about the car in itself and the build, but how it brought people in my life that I really got to know. And like definitely with thank you for Top Car Motor, Lou and Alan, man, they're amazing people. It's just great to talk to. I mean, you could stop by at their shop just talking to them, and we just talk about things with life, and they've been great friends, and meeting you. And
when you think about like I was saying, man, like I say, aside from whatever stuff that we talked about offline, there's no animosity. It's just everybody, every business. Like there's, again, if I met Dave, man, it'll be some things that he did, because his business and his area is a certain kind of people that come to him. Yeah. So the way he would deal with his customers is different for me, because again, like one thing, I'm here in Japan, but my reach is way out, so I can get parts from Australia, I can get parts of Europe. So Japan, like, they will only stay in Japan.
Yes.
They don't really, if it ain't made here. So I got Igarashi on using the LS1 coil pack. So now he's like, he orders those like once every couple months. So now I got my guy in Florida who was a prior military guy. I believe he was an officer, and he now runs it called Mojo Performance, and he just makes. He's good. He just makes coil packs, and he sells them, and he does all the CAD designs and everything. So I met him. I got his stuff over in Japan. So now I'm helping the guy that's retired just make pocket money, on these things and everything. And now his stuff's all over Japan. Yeah. So that's the way it works.
And that just reminds me real quick too. Because even when talking to Igarashi, when he was helping me, select the right parts to do the build, he recommended in a lot of, his recommendations were, he's spot on. I mean, the guy's a genius when it comes doing the builds. He's got that experience, but I did provide him some parts that were kind of like, he wasn't, not common. Like at first when I kind of presented him like, hey, since the motor be pulling out, I would like to go with, the helical quaff front differential. Now the Australian guys, they can stand behind it, and he was like kind of against it
because it's not a comfort.
It's not a comfort. And he wanted to say, and he did the right thing because he was just trying to also save me money, but also do the right. I'm like, hey, you don't really need that. But doing a lot of the research and definitely talking to the folks at Kudo Motorsports, which they are very amazing too with customer service. I've been buying parts from them. A lot of my even factory Nissan parts. It's funny how I can get factory Nissan parts cheaper in Australia and Canada than it is here in Japan. But they pretty much sold me on the quaff, and Igarashi, I got all the new seals. They did the install, so I'm pretty excited. Whenever I get to drive the car again, maybe when you do the test and tune, let me know how.
I've actually felt you could feel the. Well, actually, one thing, the car is harder to push. Like you can't because I'm assuming that's a two-way or
no, it's a helical. They're gears, yeah,
but they're still not the standard ones is an open style. So that's why I was like, dude, we because we had to pull the car inside. Okay. And when I went to go push, I'm like, dude, I can't push the car because when you turn the wheel, but when you straighten it out, you can push it.
Yeah, it's the gears.
All the gears is. And I'm like, dude, what the. I was wondering why it was like so hard to. So now it makes sense because I didn't know that. So now it makes sense why it was so damn hard. It's just the same thing when you have a 180SX with open diff or whatever. You could push it because it's open, but as soon as you put a diff in it, now the wheels, the binding pressures and stuff like that becomes a little bit harder. But yeah, man. So it's
when you get a test and tune a little bit in the track, Donnie, if you get a chance, let me know how.
Oh yeah, it'd definitely be nice.
Sorry to.
Yeah, that's all good. But yeah, it'll definitely
hard to push.
It'll definitely. But yeah, it was like, it was. I had Quan in the car to hook it up and pull it inside. And like I said, I not pulled it inside because he worked on it and he took it back and everything did there. So it is what it is, man. But yeah, like I say, man, it is definitely cool to see how the industry, man. So kind of like changing gears a little bit. So like you when did you come into the military and everything?
So I originally came in the military in 2005.
2005.
So I did enlisted and actually like your military experience, I'm kind of like your sister career field. I guess I'm coming from TMO, the ops day for pickup and delivery days. So we're pretty much in the military. We're actually in the same organizations. Me and Donald had different jobs, but I was prior enlisted traffic management, which is pretty much kind of like for non-military people. You either I don't know, USPS type, FedEx type job for the military. So you actually have the cargo portion where you actually have military members prepping military cargo, or you actually have more of the, admin type job where you're just coordinating for military's members, flight travel when they do to move from station to station, or some kind of temporary business trip, which in the military we call TDY, as well as coordinating household good pickups. So military members don't actually pick up your household goods. We just hire contractors to do it, but the military members do schedule it. So it's kind of like you're a multiple shop for prepping military, cargo and shipment, along with actually military members' household goods and travel arrangements.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, like what you said, guys, pretty much it's like Amazon, FedEx. It's like the logistics part of like moving stuff around, like my job was vehicle ops, and I moved people, objects, anything that required a vehicle to move it. We did it. So like in one day I would come in the morning, sign some stuff out. I drive a school bus, 44 packs, 22 packs, a tractor trailer, a 10K forklift, a 5K forklift, and whatever else, all in one day, all in 3 hours. That if your day is like that crazy kind of day, most of the times you do that when I train guys. So I would train a guy, sign a guy off. So I actually can drive. I drove tractor trailers in Iraq, and while the military has like the clause to allow you to drive which come out CDLs, you can now, which I didn't do, you can take your JQS files and all that stuff and go to you can actually get your CDLs now. Straight from and you can actually use a government vehicle to take the test. So you just free. So the guys who are like CDLs, so they get, man, I'm like, dude, well, join the military. I'm 55 years old, I can't join. So it's just a benefit of being, one of the perks, like, being military, being enlisted before, like, people harp on the pay. But one thing a lot of people those same people don't talk about is the fact that we walk into Wichcom, you get free. I mean, and it's not, there's different levels, and of course they'll go to the civilian sector if it's something that they can't do, but the benefits that we get being military, the COLA, the housing, like they never seem to tell people about that. So I mean, it does. While the pay is not the greatest, I guess what I'm trying to say is the same job I was doing in Iraq for delivery, KBR was doing. They were making like ridiculous amount of money for the same road, same truck, same deliveries. They were just making this much more money than us, and we're getting shot at and all that stuff more. Yeah, man, it's just the military. It is what it is, man. So I'm not against it. I just used it for what I needed to get out of it, guys. I was never sour. If it wasn't for the military, it wasn't for one 4-star general made all this happen. All this Pinku Style stuff that you guys see, it was because one guy got me orders here, man, and that started everything in motion. So if I never did the job, I never did my job. I never drove the generals. My time when I drove the generals was supposed to be a temporary thing because the manpower. So I got in there. They noticed because I was older. They figured out he's an E3 or whatever. They was like, oh, you're like 29, 28, 20, whatever. So, about 27 at the time or something like that. And so I just stayed there, man. And I drove all these generals. I got all the coins downstairs. Every general, every major command, everybody. I knew all these guys they would call me Don, in the car and everything, man. And we talk about, I got Chief McKinley, and he's talking about Ohio State and everything. And like, hey, man, you want some pizza? And like, this is the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, man. And he just like kicking it. And this mood would change. If Ohio State won, happy. He was always happy. But if Ohio State lost, he come back like, man, fuck, man, Ohio State lost. This is the Chief. I'm a E3-4. I kept it always professional, but I heard Vietnam stories like, these guys are Vietnam age. And so that was cool, man. I don't really talk about. I mean, I got my guy John Moeller sending me over a coin rack, and I'm going to display those here. And I got about like 60-something coins, man. I got duplicates because they were like, I'm like, General, I'm good, man. Yeah, I got 4 of these. I've actually traded 2 of them. He's like, all right, that's cool, man. And but yeah, my guy General Hester, the General Hester, Pac F commander. I was driving. I had my camos on, and he was getting ready to retire. These guys they're up there, and he was like, "Hey, man, anything I could do for you?" And I'm thinking like, this guy is BSing, man. I'm pretty sure he says that to everybody. My thinking. And I was like, yeah, General, I would like to go to Japan. And I was at Andrews Air Force Base. People get stuck there for 10, 15 years.
Oh, wow.
If you don't try to get out, they will I had one NCO that she was there for 10 years. Her never went anywhere else. And I could see how that damaged her, man. Like
that reminds me of Cannon.
Yeah. If you don't try to get out, you're gonna stay there. So anyway, long story short, he asked me, I don't know if I told you the story before. He asked me, do I want to, what can I do for you, man? Everything good to go? He was kind of like, hey, is anybody messing with you? I'm like, nah, man, I'm not going to dime anybody out. But I was like, yeah, man, I like to go to Japan. He was like, all right, cool. I'm pack up commander. Might be able to make that happen, right? Oh, so man, his A captain wrote it down. I'm like, whatever, man. We like laugh and joke. And then I dropped him off the Pentagon salute. And then I picked him back up, took him, I would pick him up from the flight line.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would go to bowling, stay the night. Next morning we come back up, pick him up, take him to like restaurants, go to the vice admiral, not vice admiral, but the what's the top, I've been out for a while, the top ranking officer called in the Pentagon, the like chief of staff. Yeah, so we'll go to chief of staff. I've been there multiple times, man. Meet all these dudes, man. Like I'm meeting all these guys who make all of the why I'm wearing this uniform, like why I can't wear, like these all are move makers. And the numbers I've heard, like throw 2 million on this, like I'm not gonna say what it is, man, but they were throwing some the BlackBerries. They all had BlackBerries before the smartphones, and like throw 3 million on this and do this, and they're like, hey Jackson, you don't talk about, like, yeah, man, I know. OPSEC.
All the strategic.
Yeah, all the strategic. Like I'm hearing, because I mean they ain't got time to. They got to do work.
Oh, yeah.
So while I'm driving to the Pentagon, I'm like, damn. Well, I know why this is happening. When what happened? Somebody something happened. You were in for it when they sent like it was supposed to be batteries or something, and they sent like the fuses, or it was like a nuclear mishap. They sent like nuclear components to like it was like regular like MICAP.
Oh
yeah,
I heard about
that.
Yeah.
So
dude,
when
that was wild.
Yeah. When that happened, you would we both. I depped in 2005. I came in 2006. So this is
I came in 2005. So I depped in late in 2004. But that was I remember when I was an airman here.
Yeah.
The news about
you were in.
I don't need.
Yeah, you were in because it happened twice.
Details.
It happened twice. So it happened once, and it was like, and the second time it happened, dude, I was like, we were outside, right? And I had my Nextel, I always had to have it on me. And we were outside, we was chilling in the dorms, Andrews, my guy Wilson, and everybody, we just chilling. And then the girl had a thing open, and it came on a screen. Somebody sent like I'm like, dude, my phone's gonna ring. And they was like, nah, man, we're cool. It was like, I don't drink anyway. They were all getting drunk and stuff. And I was like, dude, my phone's gonna ring in about 10 minutes, right? Watch. No shit. Hey Jackson, get over here. All the generals are coming to Andrews right now for a immediate meeting. So like that was crazy, man. That news thing. I had that much awareness to know that this is major, dude. Somebody's getting fired. Like they sent nuclear components through regular mail. Like yeah, dude. So that happened, and that's just crazy how the world's connected and stuff. Like that's my story. My spiel is how connected things are. And again, meeting that one guy, man, just doing my job, being on time, being prompt, doing my dry runs the night before, making sure he got to the Pentagon, knowing back routes, if alternate routes, because I had to take him through the hood a few times to get to the Pentagon to go around the normal traffic. They don't want to go through the city, and I knew the city. I'm from Baltimore and everything, so he's like, I'm Vietnam, dude. Let's go through the city, man. So so I take him there, always take care of him, everything. And this dude hooked me up with orders to Japan in 2 years. I was only there for 2 years. Normally everybody say you do 4 years in Andrews at least. I was there for 2 years. He was like, just make sure you go in there and update your listings. And I would go in there every day, update, because I was told at assignments, if you update, they can see how many times you've been in there. So I know at least 50 times, man. I went in there every day. I would go in there and change it. I'll mix up my Sawa Yakuta, and I was hit submit. And I would just go in there every day and mix up the listing. And then I was in Iraq for my second. Was it my second? Yeah, I was in Iraq. I was in Iraq for my first tour, and I got called up to the office, man. And the guy was like, he's like, it was like 9 at night. I'm like, dude, somebody did something, man. And I was like a little squad leader. And I was like, man, somebody did something, dude. So it was like, all right. He was like, all right, well, 2 things. He was like, congrats on BTZ. I was like, cool.
Oh, nice.
So I got BTZ in the desert. So put on when there's A1C, left as a senior airman.
You know when you were an airman, I remember back in that was a big jump. Yeah, you were happy when you get that next stripe. You know what I mean?
I got beat. BTC is what, like 6 months prior to
6 months prior than your normal time. But that like, 6 months makes a difference. You know, that's
so I got BTZ. And then he was like, all right, he was like, well, yeah. And then he knew because we always talk about cars. He's like, well, yeah, by the way, you got orders to Japan. He was like, when you get back from this deployment, you got 2 weeks to pack up and get over there.
Oh, man, that was just like,
I was like, bro, and the BTZ part was like, and everybody there was like, man, like, congrats and everything, man. So, like, all that happened, dude, from just doing my job, doing what my supervisors told me to do. The military is what it is, man. But as long as you're doing your responsibilities, you will be rewarded. Yeah. And, again, you coming from the enlisted side, and then now you're officer now, so you see like you've experienced what a lot of officers will never experience. They will never have that connect, and you experience. I mean, you did what, 4 years enlisted?
I did 4 years, 3 months.
4 years. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you experienced 4 years of enlisted. That's a lot of tools that they can, other officers can learn that, but they will never. It's just like
difference between experience and actually
And
you don't have to be prior enlisted to be a good officer. Right. I think it's just you just experienced. I mean, the enlisted side, but it's just really when it comes down to is your character. That means so much. Not to sound cliche or but really generally is your character and just willing to listen to your people and then doing the right thing out of the heart, thinking not only yourself but your others and putting them first. Right. I think that's what really makes a great leader. Because when I was enlisted and I gave respect to the officers that actually sat down and not only just talk about the job, but actually knew me as who I am as a person. Right. And it just goes a long way because it's like, showing that you do care and doing that initial approach. It's like, that person could ask me just one thing, but then I knew what they would be asking me next. And I would get like, I knew you would be asking for this, so I'm going to give you this and that and that. Very proactive. So it's, positive leadership is what motivates. That's why the difference between actually just being a manager and a leader,
Right.
Because the power of influence is only really effective if the other person allows it.
Right.
Because reality, you really can't make anybody do anything.
No, you can't.
I mean,
and even that's even what I would say in the military, we have a higher percentage of getting, because it's like you got the UCMJ, you got all these other. That contract that nobody reads when they're signing up, that I didn't read either. Yeah. It's like the way it's like, oh yeah, sign me up, dude. I'm ready to go. So like that contract that everybody doesn't read, you sign up and you like realize like you signed up for this. You don't hit like you pretty much sign, like people say sign with your life. You own your own. Your government property. If you get a suntan, people don't know this. If you get a suntan and you didn't pay, and you tan, I'm dark skinned, so I don't get away with it. But you can, dark people still can burn. I got burnt in Iraq. But I didn't. Skin is a little bit more stronger, so it didn't really do anything. Yeah. But if you're, a white, fair-skinned guy, you're gonna get burnt. You turn into a lobster. You didn't put sunscreen on. You're getting in trouble for that because you damaged government property and you knew you're supposed to put sunscreen on. So that's, people don't know you want to join the military. Be ready for stuff like that. But it's not to scare people away. It's just. Accountability is, I think, is more, you're held more to a higher standard than civilians.
Yes, and when you serve and I, not because it's like family tradition, but definitely wanted to serve my country and travel, and that's why I've continued to take the continued path of serving. I came from enlisted, but I still wanted to be in the military, and what keeps me in is actually for the people. I definitely wanted to be in a position of influence to really help people, because I generally do. Because I can't really speak for I haven't been into combat, Donald, but I've met people, and actually my suite mate was a vehicle operator back in 2007, right? And he witnesses his bunkmate die, and and I can see it affects people, man, and I just definitely feel for him. And the military is tough. Like you do get some of the you do get taken care of. You do get, like, some of the jobs you do, you could get more paid as a civilian, but you do get the benefits of free medical, and then they provide you money or a place to stay for, your family. So you got to worry about, the housing, but also the fact of going to places you don't necessarily want to go. Like, hey, if I'm a husband and I got a wife with 2 kids and a newborn, out of my own will, I really don't want to go to Iraq for 8 months.
Yeah, but
the government, that's why they call it a service and a sacrifice, because it really is. Like, there's a lot of other things that I could be doing that I love to do, that I don't do because I put, I wanted to continue to serve, and I have to put the military, sacrifice first. Like, it's amazing, Donald. Like, I mean, you're just a successful testimony in itself, because, it's just how that, that general, man, and your hard work paid off. That basically was the opening to your dreams. Yeah. Because you know how many people's dreams, I mean, from the car, you know how many everybody's dream is actually to be like, professional drifter and actually
it's definitely
and open your own shop. And then, I just found out about you watching YouTube from Kunsan, and I didn't know. I was like, wait, he's here?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Is like, man, now it's like, the video's out there, people see it, but it's changing. I'm the podcast is up in my content and everything, so people are I decided to start the podcast, and within that first week or so, my the Which Comms went up, the followers, and then I made some people like, hey man, can you do this? And I made some. I haven't made any money on YouTube paying me, but I've made money by starting a podcast, putting more content out there and everything. And now it's like I'm like, dude, I got about 200 something drift videos. You can go back and watch all those, but once at about 50, 60 videos, all right, to get the point, you can drift. All right. Yeah. Unless you're drifting at some cool new place, I won't probably put another drift video on MSP, because it's there. So like you've seen that and everything. So that was cool, man. To I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna watch this, and like you watched it.
No, yeah, and actually, my friends in Texas, they're all into cars. So like like that on YouTube, one channel leads to another. And so actually, my buddy David in the States, he was like, oh, I saw, because it's the cool things that you do. They're like, I saw Donald do the CRV driving on the track, and they thought that was cool. So you're also having fun. I mean, you're professional driver, and then but also not only just taking the sports cars, but doing creative. Yeah, I want to do more of those. Cool. Man, the cappuccino like that's going to be nuts. Like, and everybody's waiting for it. It's just like I say, man. A lot of people don't know, man. Like, you're another one that went from like well, first we just we did a lot of we did a lot of business talk, and then like recently, like you're just kind of like, we just did the car shipping and stuff like that. So a lot of people out there, you realize like, yeah, you're a customer at the same time, but it's just, and I hate to do that, man, but it is kind of how it is. It's like you kind of make connections with people, and then like I say, man, when you came here, we would talk and stuff, and it was just, most guys, man, like I said downstairs, most guys, they just can't talk, man. They just gotta always like one up. They gotta. I got this, I got that, I can do this. Like they come in, like they see I have a shop, so they just want to let me know that they did stuff before. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. But when if I go to Igarashi shop, I go to Top Secret, I go to my guy Kantan down in Teps, I'm like, oh, I do this too. Like they know I do that. Like I know what they've done. I know what they've been in the game 30 years, man. I'm doing a lot of stuff in my time, but they've done what I've done like multiple times over. And I'm just as efficient. But I don't go into somebody else's shop like, oh yeah, I would do it like this in my shop. Like, okay, my shop's in Masawa. Just keep that in Masawa. I know what I do there. Some people can't do that, and that's what, again, I appreciate when you came, when we talked. Man, I thought it was gonna be like a quick 10-minute chat. That first time you were like, we talked for almost hour and a half, just like it's things in life, man. Yeah, it's great talks.
Yeah, man. You talk about the religion stuff and everything, and like this and that, and I was curious because actually it was weird, man. And it was another testament when we first started talking. We didn't talk about ranks and stuff, right? So like it was about, I think maybe 30 minutes in that I figured out you were an officer now, and it was like this dude's like cool because you got the perception of like all officers are this way. And then I think you mentioned you were an officer first, then you said you were enlisted. So then I was like, it's making sense now, man. Because again, I for all my officers out there that watch, I got officer buddies that are straight officer from the academy. One of my guys out there, the major and everything, and I hate to say it, man, but like a lot of the every officer that I met that was prior enlisted, my Colonel Jackson that was here before you got here was a staff that was forced to go to OTS. Like they said go to OTS or you get kicked out. So he went. There was like whatever happened during his time in Manning, he had to go to OTS. All the generals I drove for, every time I go, hey Jackson, you get the OTS package in yet? They always pushing me, man. Like I was like, I'm cool here, and they're like, all right, man, I'm next. Every time I drop them in 2 weeks, hey man, you start? They're like, nah, I didn't start the OTS. I mean, but they knew I was doing stuff, man. But they just, whatever it was that I was sharing with them, they was like, dude, like the Officer Corps could use you. And that was for me, for a 4-star, multiple 4-stars to tell me that I would be a great officer. And that they knew that he was like, oh, you went to Maryland? I was like, yeah, but I did 3 years. So they, dude, your credits, you got everything. You just got to do like a little bit more. And I did 3 years of college, University of Maryland, like D1 school.
Yeah.
And so it was like, dude, like, you know, at that time my credits were still fresh. And then I actually went back to do it. They told me at the time, and I kind of didn't check up on it. They told me because so long had passed that the credits were no longer valid because it had been so long that they had been accredited or whatever, that I couldn't do anything with it, which I know is probably BS. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe that's after 4 years, but it is what it is. That's another story. But anyway, for those guys, man, to tell me that I should be an officer, it was like, you know, that was cool. But for me, that was cool enough. But I still had my plan. I was going to do 20, and then things just kind of changed after the deployments and things like that. And nothing. I got to Japan, man, and it kind of changed. That changed everything. Yeah,
that's the interesting thing is that you had at the beginning, you know, in life, you had the different avenues, man. Yeah. And I know just with your ambitious and work ethic, you would succeed in.
Yeah, I was one level from the pro football.
But it was just like funny how when you can't do everything in life.
You can't.
But there's that one calling that you feel called to.
Yeah.
And I believe that you listen to that calling and you go on with that's usually going to be the best direction that you're going to have anyways.
And then you could do it, like you say, they got the card, then everything, like you, man, like you said, like now you mentioned downstairs, before I didn't have the time, before I had tons of time and not a lot of money. Now you got your officer, you got good amount of, you know, money is good. But now, like you before, because your responsibilities, you don't have that time that you had as an E2, E3, stuff like that. So now, like I said, we mentioned I got the shop here, and I want to do, like, for example, I'm really good at martial arts, I'm really good in jiu-jitsu and fighting, but I don't have the time to go train every day like the people who just train every day do. So I brought it here, and then like what you end up doing, like again, bring out Joe Rogan because he's influential. If you watch Joe Rogan, he has a building with just all of his stuff he likes.
Oh man,
cars,
awesome.
Gym, everything, because he's busy. He don't have time to go to this gym and then go over here. So he brings everything to him.
I just thought of something funny, Donald. I was like, man, that would be pretty cool. You'd have a Pinku Style, like race car shop, tuning shop, and dojo.
Yeah.
One.
They actually said, like, they were, some of the guys, like, oh, you make a dojo now? Because I'm a purple belt. And I'm through my, I was awarded my purple belt by Rick Gomez, who came through. This is a lineage thing. There's a whole deep thing about that. But anyway, long as your lineage can be proven, you can actually start teaching at purple, and you can start ranking other people up at brown, giving guys like degrees. Then black, you can promote everybody depending on your credentials or whatever. You can actually be a brown belt as long as you're are you doing any martial arts? Are you familiar with that stuff?
Yeah.
So pretty much, guys that don't know, if your black belt says, hey, I clear this guy to rank people up in jiu-jitsu, you can. Jiu-jitsu takes a lot longer. I was a white belt for like 5-6 years. I was a blue belt for about 4 years, because there's time, like, there's McDojos out there that will give you your belt. If you're like Keanu Reeves, for example, is just started. Ashton Kutcher, I think, he just got brown. So they don't matter about who you are. But he does privates. So he goes to the guys, and that's why I built this guy. I have my guys come in privately. So I will probably make brown and black privately. I don't have time with the business to go. And I hate to say it like that, but it's just my calling.
Yeah,
my calling is that unfortunately my sacrifice is I used to go to the dojo at 7:00, and we just do all stuff, and we hang out for an hour, and then it's 10:30. All right, we just talk about what we just did, and we do it again the next day. And now it's like I can't. When they're training, I'm building cars, I'm doing all this stuff, man, and I want to be doing jiu-jitsu with my guys, but I just
and then you still could get there, things get time.
Yeah, it's just the building.
That's the right way of doing things. Like, and you've been in cars, man, for over 20 years too.
It's crazy.
But you also learn that quality build doesn't come overnight, and so, but it's worth the wait.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, for the younger guys coming in the car community, and against nothing against, you know, being in your earlier 20s. I was in my early 20s, and, you know, you matured over time.
Right.
But it's now the way the media portrays things. It makes you want to get everything quick and now.
Yeah, and everybody's when for me, that's one thing I do not do, man. Like if I got my buddies there, or whatever, my buddies is all competing, they're doing stuff. It's easy to be like, oh man, you know, they that's one thing. I'm not gonna say it hasn't happened. It's some times where things were just, everything was kind of not going right and everything, and you just go online, and online makes it seem like everybody's life is like grand and great. What they don't see is all the struggles behind that. I just had my guy on last podcast, Jake Jones, and we talked about that, man. Like, he's very successful, but he just shared, like, he was out of work for 3 months. He was he quit his job to go follow this drift thing that was guaranteed. Then they pulled it up from under him. So he was jobless for 3 months, but he was good with his money. He saved money, he made contacts, and then he rebounded. And he's an international pro drifter, but he still works he does contracting work. He works to do wineries and stuff, and he does contracts. So now he's in a position now where he's good at what he does. He's a certified electrician, and now he picks and chooses what he wants to do. So now he can pick up and go to New Zealand. He can go here and compete, and he's not like, he don't have to ask anybody for time off. So he worked himself there, and a lot of people don't see that, man. So eventually, like I say, man, you know, I don't know, like, are you planning on, like, are you I guess for the officer thing, or how long are you looking to go with it? You know, 20 or, and also does your enlisted time count?
Yes. So now I got a total of 11 years in. Even though I came in 2005, I did take a 4-year break in service to finish getting the requirements needed to commission. You know, I went to ROTC at Texas State University while getting my academics at a private school at Wayland Baptist University. And, you know, they made my, you know, commissioning path happen. So, but as of right now, I mean, this is a very interesting, since I'm going to NATO base in Poland. I'm going to be the only U.S. Air Force at the installation. It'll be pretty interesting. So I'm just seeing where, you know, life takes me on this path now. So as of right now, yeah, I do plan on, you know,
you're 11, man.
Yeah,
so
I'm 11, but you know, sometimes life could steer you in different paths when you least expect it. You know, sometimes I believe, you know, when the good Lord throws a curveball, it's like, don't duck, you might miss something. Because sometimes things are kind of like what you have planned in your head. It's like that gets fulfilled, but it's like different than what you expected. And a lot of the times it's the way that I imagined it ended up being a lot better than what I did. You know, that actually so what had happened ended up being a lot better than what I imagined. So, and I think that's the interesting thing about, you know,
because you never know who you're going to meet over there in Poland, man. So, and that's not the thing is, I have friends over there already. So, like, you know, I can give, because that whole year is like that. I went to Germany, man, and like that 48 hours, like, it was awesome. 48 hours, a lot of stuff happened that I'm not going to talk about right now, man. But it's like how, you know, like Poland is like, I guess, well, Europe is all kind of like in a cluster and everything. So I know guys over there and stuff. So I mean, pretty much once you get over there, man, I'll be like, yeah, I know this guy here. Then you can get in contact or, you know, do different things, or there's some car guys there as well. I'll give you those guys information, so you can get there and you'll know. I don't know if the situation there, like if they, you know, are you guys allowed to go more than 3 hours, 4 hours away from base and stuff like that? You should, I mean, be able to, but depending on what's going on in the area, there's different, and that's, again, bringing up the military stuff, guys. Like, one thing that some people don't understand, so I kind of like give people knowledge a little bit. But for example, when you're military, you got a secret clearance, top secret clearance. You can't just go to Philippines, some areas. You can't just go to some areas. You have to clear that with your command, because if you go there and you don't go there, like you say, I'm going to Utah, and you end up in Philippines in an area that's blacklisted, and you get popped or whatever. Bad stuff happens. You lose your clearance. It happens, man. So you know all that stuff, man. You can't go. You can't, and that's where, like, your military is like, all right, you got all these benefits, but you still owned by the government. You can't do what you want. So that's little tidbits out there, man. You can't do what you want always, and everything's not going right. But like you said, man, for the, you know, going to Poland, you never know what's going to happen there, who you're going to meet. For me, the funny thing is, I vowed, I never wanted to, after working with who I work with, I didn't want to work in a car shop. I didn't want to own a car shop. I didn't want to work in a car shop. I didn't want to own a car shop, and I didn't want anything to do with pro drifting. I do all three things, man. So it's like I was like, pro drifting is for lame, because I didn't have the cash and the assets. And then once I got the ranked up and I got the pro status, it was like, all right, cool. But it's a card. It's just a piece of plastic. And the thing about it, it's not going to get you into any A-list clubs. Like, get out of here, man. Pro drifter, like, what is that? So like it only means something in this little community here. So I look at it that scheme, man. Is I took 4 years off of competing. That they're still gonna be there. It's just new drivers, it's new whatever. My skill sets are still what they are. I'll return, but now I'm returning with. I got trucks now. I got way more bigger network. I get stuff like that. Before it was like I don't need sponsors. I do everything myself. I got dealers accounts and stuff like that I can utilize, so I don't need to do what most drivers got to do to get where they got to get. I have all, because I took the 4 years off, put those 4 years into this business. Now I can, like you say, man, it's the destiny. So like, I mean, doing what you're doing with that stuff, man, becoming an officer, going through the OTS, all that different stuff. It is when you're in a good situation. A lot of guys don't realize when you're in a good situation, you keep making it better. But when you're in a bad situation and you're not improving it, it's like it's hard to, unless somebody gives you a big handout, it's just hard to improve that. Good. So you're making tons of money being a movie star. Then you could take $4 or $5 million and put that into a side business. That becomes another $20, $30 million, and you just keep doing it. And they don't realize how guys like Michael Jordan or whatever, Kobe Bryant just passed away. He was doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. That people didn't know about. They didn't know about the business stuff he was doing because his family was good, so he was taking extra money, open that up. I didn't know he had a damn dojo. He had a Mamba. It was Mamba Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, wow, so he just paid. Yeah, he just built the thing, got with some guys. All right, you're gonna run this. Everything's paid for. That's just making the money. You're providing a service for people to train, to better themselves, to get skill sets. You're making money. And you're just furthering your brand, man. So that's where a lot of people don't realize, man. That 4 years I took off. If I got to take this year off, I was planning on coming back. If I got to take one more year off, man, that's one more year that my business gets stronger. I'm not taking money away from the operation side to put into that because and especially with drifting, you're wasting a lot of money, to be honest. You don't get too much customers. So my thing is I'm going towards time attack because that's actually where the customers come from, believe it or not. Oh, yeah. So all my drifter guys are there. I'm sorry, man, but you guys don't pay money. I'm sorry. Like he's working on this car now, and he's not a drifter, man, but he's a street
it's a street guy. Car. Yeah, it's just something nice, and
that's my money. So you gotta. When I opened up, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna do this stuff and get all. I had zero. Still to this day, I keep saying I've had 0 drift bills that weren't my own that I've sold. Nobody's ever come to me because when they do come here and they see the bill, they're like, okay, I'll think about it, but that means they're not going to come back. And so it's not a shot at my drifter guys. It's just that I'm a drifter, so I know how it is. So I never went to a shop, so I don't get offended by that. But I got to go where the money is to keep my business going, which is just good street cars and grip guys, man. So and then far like we talked a bunch about it, man. Like you said, you talked about your dad. So your dad. Mechanic in the military, or
so my dad was a crew chief in the military. He was a mechanic that worked on KC-10s and KC-135s. But he learned how to be a mechanic ever since he was as a kid. So I think before he joined the military, because he was telling me he was messing with cars, and he worked at a mechanic shop that worked on like semis, like Peterbilt
diesel mechanics.
And so good money. He definitely knew a lot of the tricks of the trade, and growing up, definitely was teaching me stuff. So, like I said, it was a great bonding moment when we when we came to work on the car. Again, more of like him showing me and mentoring me. But and then other than that, on the side note, then when I used to work on cars with my friends, in high school, whether we go to auto hobby shop on the base, but back then we were just kids, so a lot of things, like even the car stuff, was a lot easier to get a hold of, used and cheaper, even though you didn't have a lot of the JDM type assets, but everything was a lot cheaper with car stuff. So that sandpaper on the head, nothing's it's bolt tight.
It's good.
with those kind of skills and trying to build a race car, I would have the issue with that thing. I'm like, hey, you know, this thing would be falling apart because not everything's torqued to spec, but it was just to get it up and going.
And that's the thing about it, man, because I think we talk about a lot of stuff, man, but like the aspect of you spend a lot of money in like you say now, like somebody was saying something like the other day, like, you know, when you had when you coming up and you get like something, you sell something, you get $8,000, and at that time, because you have no recollection of like what $8,000 really does as far as like when you're adult and you got like, you know, your operation costs this much a month to run, that seems like nothing. And you know, as you get older now, like the money, the passion is still there. You got more that you can do. So then you start doing bigger stuff. So then, like a lot of guys, you start paying bigger money to the car. And then the thing about, I tell every customer when they come through here, because I don't want to scare guys or like make them like think that something's gonna go wrong. But it's like, look, man, it is a lot of money what you're putting into the car compared to the general guy. But you got to look at what F1 and NASCAR is doing is a whole different level. They have ridiculous. Their engine alone is millions of dollars.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And they got like 4 of those, and they got 2 of that same car. And when they crash that car, the guy has a lot of money, but that's a lot of money going out, and they put a lot of engineers into it, and it still blows up. So like you got to think, man, like it doesn't matter. Like the parts you're putting into these engines for the regular road cars, it makes them stronger, but it's still a mechanical item. If it's not, if your fuel is not right, if something goes wrong, and the only way to kind of get over that is just to strip the whole car down and everything brand new. And that's what happens with, like, you know, straight up, you know, Formula drift cars. Yeah. Everything is taken off, everything standard, because you can't trust 150 K build to stock wiring. You're just not going to do it.
No, and that's just kind of like comes to kind of like saying, can't pour new wine on wineskins, because this thing is with old cars. You got to really replace everything because newer components will overpower the old.
Exactly.
And then that's when stuff starts seizing. I mean, honestly, in the car community, if you've been in for a while, you can't just expect that, hey, I'm going to buy all this stuff and it's magically going to work.
Yeah, and everything's
you got to calculate the risk, because, I mean, there's going to be a little bit of loss in certain things. But I'm telling you, comfort, but persistence will pay off. Like, even restoring my R32, I mean, man, I love Okinawa, man. And they do have a great car scene, but that is the worst place to sit in a car.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only place, like, you find, like, oh, man, you got rust on the firewall on your Skyline? All right, it's not one of the most common rust spots, more as the fender wells, but you're like, okay, this car's been on Okinawa. Yeah. Because it's like, it's salt in the air. Even though
like
beautiful
island, strut towers.
Like, you gotta constantly watch
Okinawa and Hokkaido are like the, when I go online, I see Okinawa, Hokkaido, I honestly don't even, it's next. It's like, and then also Fukuoka, because it gets that, it's like, I mean, I don't know, Fukuoka is what, like an hour ferry ride from Okinawa.
Fukuoka, that's on the that's closer to Korea, Fukuoka, the city, right?
The lowest prefecture in mainland.
Okinawa is like all the way, close to Taiwan, further down south.
The curves over this way.
But Fukuoka, it's
it's like
everything really close to the ocean.
It's right there, man. So like the best cars honestly come from like Osaka. Well, Fukushima used to be, but now because of the flood, a lot of flooded cars have been sold. So that's something that's really bad. If it's a flooded car in Yahoo auctions, odds are highly likely it was in Fuku that it got flooded during the whole thing that happened there and everything. So guys, be careful with that. If you see a GTR for $5,000, something wrong with it. It's really bad, really rusted and stuff like that. So it's just how everything is situated here and how the car scene and all that stuff, man. It's just kind of, there's a lot more, man, we can get into and stuff like that, man. Time is kind of, my wife's probably waiting for me a little bit. We talk a little bit more, but yeah, man, as far as, again, like kind of like recapping for the guys again, meeting you, man, and coming in and stuff like that. I just wanted to get you on to talk about stuff and get your story out there. And again, man, we kind of probably could have done this a bunch more times. Probably be back. I'll probably run into you over there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely I don't want to leave Japan. I love it here, and one thing about being in mainland, this is the only place I've lived in mainland compared to Okinawa. It's like, man, I do love the open space. Definitely gonna miss my house because even Misawa is very unique. It's just the layout of the houses here that they built, being around the base, are pretty much American style.
Yeah, especially you've been in Newtown before. Newtown is they call it Newtown because it's like the roads are widening. It looks like somewhere in San Francisco.
Oh wow, really? Oh
yeah, man. It's Newtown, you have to really you don't really Newtown is a whole little section that you don't go to unless you know somebody back there. But if you ever been past the train station,
yes, you
just keep going straight up, and then over. If you haven't been there, it's a thing that says Newtown. So it looks like there's a step, then there's a step plot, then there's a step down. So the houses look like they go like this, and it kind of it's going down the hill. So it looks kind of like San Francisco-ish.
Because I know driving through there, they were back then. It was not a few months ago. See more construction. Yeah. But now you got me want to go check it out now. Yeah. Before I leave. That's pretty interesting. If
you just put Newtown in, you'll see back. You just drive back there, and it'll be like solar panels everywhere. It doesn't look like Japan. I mean, it's like they got big, wide driveways for one house, 2-car garage. Like everybody that lives back there kind of the move makers, or they're because there is expensive. Kubo-san is back there for his towing company. But so if you live back there, you're pretty well off, man, because it ain't cheap. Yeah, it's not cheap, man. It looks great, but it ain't cheap. So getting that American flavor ain't cheap, and they got places like there in Sendai that people they're all into the. If you look at Japanese TV, the commercials look like they're in California somewhere, but they're in Japan. And it's like the wide kitchens and they don't look like that in Misawa.
Being in the military, my house in Misawa has been the best. I didn't think that this was available when I first got here, so I found a house that was 2,200 square feet, 2-car garage, and I mainly based the car. I based getting the house off the car because I was like, I want to, I want to get this because I want to have my GTR in here. That's my baby. This is the hobby thing. But I definitely like the blueprints and the layout. Definitely it's spot on for being American style, and I think this is probably in being military, probably one of the best places to have. A really big house living in the community, and then with the open space,
and also security because I've been to pretty much every base on mainland, or I've been to every base mainland or right outside. I didn't have the reason to go on base, but Sugi, Yokota, Yokosuka, while they are down closer to the action to the way they think so, dude. I'm like, dude, you guys, the houses are this big. The car can't even park. The car is parking half on the street because they can't even back all the way in because it's a JZX 100 and it's long, and the parking space is meant for a K car. Yeah. So I'm like, dude, and they like, oh man, well it's cool, man. We're right by Daiko Fu. I'm like, dude, that'll they come up here and they're like, dude, space. You can have multiple cars, you can have multiple builds and stuff like that, and it's cheaper. Yeah. And we can actually drive places and don't have to wait driving Route 16 in Yokota takes 3 hours to go somewhere.
And it's more feasible too. Yeah. You could say you live in a closer spot where all the action, but realistically, most of them don't even take advantage of that. When I go down there, man, I don't want. I'm like, dude, people up here would kind of kill for it, but for me, it's an 8-hour drive, and because I'm from the city, I like visiting that area. I don't like Tokyo because you go there and then you get lumped. When people see you, you're a tourist. I'm like, nah, I've been here 11 years now. I'm a business owner. Yeah. And they don't. But I don't even. I don't wear a card I'm a business owner or a little patch swastika or whatever that indicates who I am. If they want to think who I am until they talk, they'll see the hair and they'll know I'm not military. They were like, are you a wrestler? Are you a fighter? I'm like, I do fight, but I don't fight professionally. And so they start asking questions. Then eventually I give them a card and then I don't. You're Japanese, you got a shot.
Yeah. Then they don't. But then I get into the guys who, when I go different places, they see the magazines, but they don't want to. Because I do the same thing, man. If I see Keanu Reeves walking around, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Keanu. I'm like, if we happen to come into a close proximity, or I'm like, hey man, I respect your movies. Yeah. I respect how I don't know if you follow Keanu Reeves, but he's one of the most for what he what he's done, man. You know.
Yeah.
How he carries himself.
He's down to earth.
Down to Subway, just chilling. Like that stuff like that, man. For a person like that, you know, he's just chill, man. And also he does martial arts. He does shooting and stuff like that. And he runs separate businesses, and he's not riddled with scandals and stuff like that. And I kind of read up on him, man. He's lost a significant amount of people in his life, things like that, and he's still positive.
That's
so anyway, like
it's all perspective.
Yeah. Man. So anyway, it's kind of get off the tangent, man. I say that to say, if a guy like that can walk around and be normal, I mean, I have a shop here, but that's like, you know, people like that who up there, they could be jerks, they could be dicks, they could be all this stuff, and they're just chill people. Heard a story about, I guess, this playing out the directed, and he was just on there like, yeah, whatever, cool, just like chilling or whatever. And he paid for like the people's like some food and stuff for the people on there, because everybody he just felt, I guess he's one of those people who he could feel people's, like, you know, maybe they didn't get home to see their daughter or whatever, and stuff he's been through, and then where he's fortunate to be where he's at in life, you know, with stuff he's done. And I guess he just is feeling the pain, and everybody's like, oh man, I can't do this, I'm missing this, I'm gonna be late for this, I'm gonna be late for that. So he just is like, you know, to make the people feel better, I guess he paid for something and relieved the stress of the people because they were stuck, their plane got diverted. And I'm like, that dude's like cool, man. So if a guy like that could be cool, down to earth for this little stuff I have, man, and it is, in retrospect, compared to what we're doing in the car scene, it is major, but I don't see it like that. You know what I'm saying?
And people can get like swarming in the details, like the saying is, like the devil's in the details. And I've seen people kind of, they take like little mounds to mountain hills. Yeah. And the thing is, if you're always distracted on the little things, then it's hard for you even to move forward, even on the little things.
Think about.
And so, you know, just being in the military, heck, like, you know, this is when I was in college at Randolph. You know, there's some of the guys that are in there like were Army, because BAMC was right there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this guy, you know, is missing half his leg, and it's just due like, you know, combat wounds, things got to get, you know, cut off and, you know, amputated and everything. But the guy's in there still, you know, lifting and like has a smile on his face, the type of people. And like, you could be that person that's just like, oh yeah, you know, I'm losing a limb and be miserable and complain, but that's all you're just going to keep reaping. But it's all about perspective too, because life can get better. Right. Now, I'm not going to lie, you know, it's easier as in human nature. We kind of tend more the negativity. Like 10 people could say something great about you, and then one person will say something, and then you're going to totally race. And the thing is, in life, you can't please everybody. Right. And you got to find out what gives you peace at the end of the day. Right. And sometimes I'm gonna let you know, like, hey, if you're going to a path and you're persistent, and that's what's tugging on your heart, there is going to be a lot of resistance when you move forward and succeed. But at the end of the day, you'll have peace about it. Right. But if you're doing your best you can just to, you know, draw people to be well liked, you're going to be miserable. Yeah, because you end up changing who you are. You're changing who you are to appease to others. And like we mentioned downstairs, I'm not going to bring up names with the customer I talked about before, and that was like, you know, that was, I guess, a maturity thing. Because for that guy, when I dealt with him for 48 hours, I allowed myself to be angry at that guy to the point where I wanted to physically, like, because what he was doing, man, I know what I do, man. I put my time in. I do nothing but do right by people. And what he was trying to do, I'm like, dude, you're just all that work I did, man. And that's like that just is hard not to be enraged. Like, there's people out there who are definitely doing bad stuff to customers, and I'm not one of those guys, man. So when you even attempt to group me there, and then, like I say, man, to have that one guy try to downgrade my try to slander my name, not knowing that I got all the emails. I got every email we ever sent. I'm like, dude, you can say whatever you want, and I can post all these emails. And then he never, because he knew I had every email. He can't go back and, you know, I'm not going to edit them. I don't have time for that. I got all these emails, the traffic and all this stuff led up to the situation that was in. And it was basically that he wanted everything for nothing. And then he just got mad because I didn't roll over and give him that. And then, like I say, man, to have all my other customers and everybody people who actually I thought was kind of like against me, they even like backed me up, like, nah, dude, I know I've been to his shop. I don't use his shop, but I know what he does there. You're totally wrong. So to have 30 something men who don't owe me anything, come to my, you know, that kind of like that
situation right there, like, hey man, I don't, that's where I kind of like, if a customer says something, I know what I did everything properly. Maybe they have, maybe a parent died or a sibling died or something happened that is making them act this way. So I just kind of take that to consideration. I got personal stuff going on, so sometimes, if my wife, we just had an argument, maybe even though I think I'm not projecting, sometimes a customer will come in right at the wrong time, and then I'll kind of get a little bit more. I'll be a little bit more aggressive, and it's honestly because sometimes they kind of trigger something. If they're normal, like, you've always been cordial, man, so I never had a reason to like be angry or whatever. But some guys come in, and then if they're cool, it'll kind of make the energy better. But if they come in with negative energy, and I've already had the issue outside, that's like that's bad timing, man. And I've actually 2 customers. No shit, man. Like a day after, I actually hit them up like, hey man, I'm like, hey man, when you came in, like you kind of came at me this way. This is why I came at you. But I was like, look, man, I kind of apologized because I was a little bit over aggressive, and got it. I kind of pretty much was like shouting at them, man, because they were really doing something stupid or they were doing something that was going to make the situation worse, and I was trying to prevent that. And they were trying to tell me how to run my business because it was inconveniencing them because they did something wrong that I briefed them on. I'm like, I told you this had to be like this. So you come here with your car like this, like, I'm going to have to charge you more for it. And then they're like, oh, man, we spent. I'm like, no, I'm not. I told you can't have a full tank of gas when you bring it here for shipping. Now I got to drain that out, and that's what it's going to cost and everything, man. So, and that kind of, situations like that sends you off, man. So everybody's not, I'm not a Zen master. Like, I can make everything calm and go away. Nah, man. I come from a very aggressive place in Baltimore. I done combat. Let me cut this off, man. Sorry about that. That's my alarm for I gotta get home soon, man. But yeah, man. Coming from an aggressive thing like that, naturally, man, you're gonna be it's something. Then also, man, sports, and then fighting. I do nothing but aggressive stuff, man. I shoot guns, I fight, I wrestle. I come from it's what I mean. So it's just that's me. I'm very so. And then the new guys, they take the bluntness as a confrontation. I'm like, no, and I'm not trying to be but I'm putting up there what's going to happen if we don't do this. If you try to ship your car and it's lower, you're going to smash your bumper, dude. Then what's going to happen? I'm telling you, I'm not involved in that process. Then because I took the car there, they feel like I'm the shipper. I'm like, no, I'm not the exporter. I get it there, but I'm not going to take it there with your car slammed because I know what's going to happen. When I put it on that ship, it's going to smash your whole damn bumper up. Now I am involved because the type of person I am, I'm not going to just say, let's figure it out yourself. I'm not going to do that. So I don't want to be involved in that because I'm like, hey man, we don't have to go there. We don't have to do that. And that's what the biggest issue I have right now. You're not an astronomically older guy, but I've dealt with a lot of the older guys and everything, and they're easier to deal with because they have life experience. Like, you see things differently, even not being a 40-year-old guy. You see things differently, and so dealing with you as a customer, as just talking to somebody, is different than dealing with a 21-year-old because they have no life experience, and what they see is Instagram, and that's all they see. Yeah, they want the stuff. They want the Rocket Bunny kiss. They want the RWB Porsche, and I'm like, dude, those guys are doctors that are driving these cars. They already went through the 11 years of med school and all those sacrifices and eating ramen and all that stuff. Now they can do that. So you got to do that same thing, man. Like I said, I know, again, man, going back to your bagging, like, people don't know, like, what it took you to get that Supra and do things and do that and do. They just see the final result at a car show and like, oh, that guy's a dick. He's a Supra driver.
It's just like for it's just for like, professional baseball players. It's like, no one ever remembers them for the strikeouts. Yeah. And they strike out more than they've actually hit home runs, but you will be remembered by your home runs. So that's the thing in life too. I mean, if you really want something bad enough, persistence pays off. You'll get it. Yeah. It's just, but you also have to, everything doesn't just come easy. It's a sacrifice. There's things like, now you run a successful business, but there's a lot of things that you have to do that you don't like. Nobody wants to do the accounting. No one wants the budgeting. Doing taxes. All the taxes. And
case in point, I was here
managing your records.
I was here to 11 because I kept. I told the guy I was going to have it done Thursday, and that didn't get done on Thursday. So I was here to 10 after I played with my kids a little bit last night. My wife, she's great, helped me out and everything. I was here till 10:30. I did a estimate, like a quote for a guy, and this, like, the way I run my shop is like, if the guy wants a quote, if he's not like, I need it right now, I'll get it to you in 72 hours or whatever, because I got to talk to all these different companies to say, do you got this? If you don't got it, because when I give him, hey, this part we can order immediately, this part is going to be a 2-week wait. So I do that for every part. Most people just give you a price, and the price is not accurate.
Yeah.
So I do shipping, I do the availability. Then if I can offer any, for you doing it, because I do it, man. If the guy's spending a certain amount of money, I will help him out, because that's getting him the parts cheaper. It allows me to do the job. I get paid. Everybody wins. And that's what I try to set up. Not just taking from the customer. Just charging them full rate, even though I know I get this discount. And maybe it's taboo, but it's business. Everybody out there who does business know that's what that iPhone you paid $1,200 for did not cost $1,200. It costs $450 to make, and then they mark it up. That Civic Si you just bought, or whatever new car, did not cost $100K to That's just the unit. They have to sell this many units at this price to recoup the money that to the auto industry. So I don't hide that aspect that I make money, but I also don't have to. You don't have to, as a business, you don't have to tell the guy hey, I did this, because that they should know that's how it goes.
But I mean, yeah, that's the principles of business, though. I mean, again, you got to make a living, and it's not like you're not going to buy something for all right, I bought this from a vendor for
it's just not
$5, but I'm just gonna sell it to you for $5.50. Is it really the extra 50 cents? It's not. You have to make profit. You have to make profit, but also the right way of doing business is there's the values. There's the diligence and the integrity, and definitely like you explained, when you give a quote, I was like, it's like, wow, that's pretty exact, because there are businesses out there, not saying, I guess, that they'll use as bait, showing as a low price,
right?
And then once the final bill comes, that's why the way the word it is an estimate.
Yeah.
And even though they didn't go out of the way to get certain things,
only way I use the registry mine says quote, because quote is people don't really use cool. I mean, and that people don't know the difference between estimate is just maybe maybe this, maybe that. A quote is that's your price, and I give out quotes. The only time it's an estimate is if I don't have history with the car, and I don't know maybe this is welded, this is broken. So I'll say, hey man, this is the quote. I'll put in my quotes, but I do put in the bottom. It is subject. It doesn't mean that it can't change.
Yeah, the fact because
the quote is more finite than an estimate. Estimate is just about $150 when it's actually $180 or whatever. So maybe it'll go $20. So a lot of people, I do break that down. I kind of learned a little bit things about what not to do. If you break, if I can itemize everything, and then that'll kind of be they'll give out a little bit too much information, because then they can take that and go to another guy. Oh, he's charging this much for that. So when I say engine pull, it requires you to drain a fluid. It requires you to drain an oil. So I don't have to put in there oil drain. I just put fluid disposal. So that accounts for if I'm draining your brake fluid, your coolant, transmission fluid. That's going to cost. That's pretty much, if I got to dispose of 2 liters of this, two quarts of that, I factor all that into fluid disposal. That's all you. There's no reason to put brake disposal, brake fluid disposal, oil disposal, coolant disposal, freon remove and extraction. It's fluids and gases. You got to take it out. So I just put engine pull and removal. That encompasses everything it takes to take the engine out, and everything it encompasses putting fluids back in and put the engine in. So I just kind of keep it there. And that's why but some things that head resurfacing, that's specific. So it's going to be this much to get the head resurface or get the boring. So I do break down within there, if you're getting a borer with a 0.5 over, you're getting the crank, whatever. I do break that down because that is a major component. But if it's something minute, I just kind of put it together. But I've seen quotes from other places, man, with estimates, and they're just they're just not. You can see in the estimate that they're going to slap this guy with maybe $1,200 more hidden fees.
Yeah, and just using it as a bait, and it's not right. But
because you already invested, the car is there, so it's you got no choice.
Yeah,
you got the car is there, is on the lift.
But being direct and trying to get the best possible price.
Yeah.
it's a win for you because it saves time, and then it saves time to the customer, and then definitely for the customer, it's grateful because they know what it is.
They know exactly what it is, and also what it does. It's not like one thing I don't do, man. I mean, running a shop and everything. I don't want to really talk about myself too much, but running a shop, it's not that people can't do it. It's just that most guys that come here can do most of what I'm offering. They're cops, they're security force, they're crew chiefs. They work in 12s. Yeah. They don't have the time and everything.
And space too.
Yeah. They don't have the time, space, tools, and they just want it done. And they just like, some guys I see when they first come in, they like, the first 2 minutes, they just, yeah, man, I normally do this and everything. I'm like, okay, man, cool. I've heard this story before. You normally could do it, but you don't have time. That's cool. And that's why I start saying now, look, man, when you bring your car here, there ain't going to be like because some guys are experienced. They will kind of like, hey, man, I'm like, look, man, I give them a brief, like, look, when you bring your car here, I'm going to do this. I don't need you chiming in or wanting to step in or hand me, like, no, you brought your car here for me to work on. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do everything you requested that you paid for. And I'm not going to add anything. I do things like I clean the engine bay. Like, that's just something I do. If I'm in engine bay, the engine bay is going to look cleaner than when it came here. It's going to be shiny. That's just something I offer as a service. But I'm not gonna go ahead and charge a guy for something that he didn't ask for. I'm also not gonna perform a major task and just because I'm there. Like if it's in my AOR and it's affecting my work, it has to get done. But I normally, because I'm a professional with it, I know when I do the clutch, the rear main seal is there. Has it been changed in 20 years? No, it has to be changed. So I know it. I know what has to be done. So versus a shop that'll put your clutch on. They don't clean your bell housing. They don't clean the back of the engine. They put a new brand new Ogura clutch in there that you paid $1,300 for.
They didn't even change out the
release bearing. Bearing's the same. Power bushing's the same. And then 2 weeks you come back like, hey man, my car. Oh yeah, man, you should have changed this. Like, dude, you knew you were a pro shop and you didn't change that. You didn't clean the bell housing and take the 20 years of dirt out of there. Now my new clutch is contaminated. Now all of a sudden he's angry. And you're angry because you probably got to go back and redo the work, and you're going to charge the guy more. I have a warranty, so when I do work, I give my customer 6 months. 6 months non-tamper warranty. As long as they didn't change stuff and take stuff away, I will fix it. As long as I can tell that they took stuff apart. And some people I'm like, look, man, if I take it apart, I'm going to charge you. And then they're like, and then they kind of like, I didn't. They never bring the car because they know that they tamper with it. And I'm like, look, I can't. If you took it apart after I put it together, I can't. Yeah,
that's.
You know what I mean? I know I put it together properly, man. I not perfect by a long shot, but I'm meticulous with it. When I do a clutch, I'll do it like almost OCD. I'll do it like 6 times. I'll torque it down 6 different times. Like, yeah, just make sure I got this again, man. I torque it down again. Then I mark it, torque it down. It's like every time I torque it down. Here to click, mark it with a pink Sharpie. Here to click, mark it. So that way I know I've touched each one of those. Back in the day, I've done things where I've been like rushing. Mm-hmm. I thought I torqued it down. One flywheel bolt's loose. So if that's a customer car, and I caught it myself, but that's a practice where, like, you like, it's good to go, and that's why also I don't when people come in, I do appointments because I can't be working on a set of piston rings, and a guy comes in and I drop that. I'll tell the guy, hey man, if you came in with no appointment, just wait right there. I gotta finish this piston because what happens? We start talking. My mind goes somewhere else. Then next thing I know, I put that piston in. And the next thing I know, I look on the table like, dude, that's a control ring on the table. That's supposed to be inside the engine. And I've had it happen before, not with a piston, but a guy came in. I was trying to get business, and this particular RX-7 was a bad car, man. Everything was done. The battery box was installed on top of the fuel tank, so I had to take the battery box out each time to get to it. And when I put it back together, the guy came in right as I was putting it together. I put the lines on, but I didn't connect the ground clamp to the pump, so the fuel signal didn't work.
Oh wow!
So I got in the car like, fuck, man. So I got to take all this battery box. I got to take all these long, stupid wing nuts. It's like this. I didn't get paid to do that. I just the wing nut goes all the way down. I got to take that all the way off. I got to take the other one all the way off. I got to take the battery box out. Got to take the box out. Take the carpet up. Then take all that stuff back out just to put the clamp on because the guy distracted me, which is why when customers come to my shop, man, whatever, if I'm doing something in that moment, I'll tell them to hold on until I get done with this. And that's where, it's just that keeping that mindset, man. And
Yeah, because I mean, you can be in the midst of something, and I've done that too. I mean, just life in general, not specifically
we're
working on cars.
We're not meant to even though we multitask, we're not meant to do that.
We're meant to like focus really good on one thing, but it's just like, I'd be in the midst of something, and then like you'll misplace stuff when I'm working. I'm like, oh crud, where does this go now? Or when you're talking on the phone and you're distracted and you start playing with your keys, then you're like, oh man, where did I put my keys? But understanding and it's a hassle at times. I'm in those situations, or doing work and you're in the middle of meetings. Then I'm trying to do something, arrange something, and I'm like, all right, I forgot where I remember what I was doing, but where did I leave off? And so you have to restart everything all over, so that's done right. And then, because I don't want to take the risk of just intervening. Well, I think I left off here. Right. And then like some people like to play. Oh man, I got great memory, and I'm like, I do got a good memory. I remember a lot of stuff, but because I'm a single shop, one thing I don't know if you noticed down there, man, I got sticky notes all over the window. So I just write down Greg. O2 sensor. So when I look at that sticky, it's pink. That triggers like, oh man, order this or do this. Because if I try to, with all the stuff I got, all the emails, all the orders, all the customer cars, all the quotes, if I try to do, and then all the engines that I know every engine I got RX-7 rotaries over here. I got 2Js over here. I got RBs. I know how to assemble all these engines, man. So we got all that stuff in your mind, man, plus your family, plus martial arts movements. It's like, dude, like the amount of stuff that we can hold in our heads is crazy, and for the size of our brains, man. And but I think you also can't. There's like you run out of hard drive space. Yeah, it's like so like and then the hard drive, you got to delete some old files to move in. So then when I go to fire up my MPC, even though I'm very proficient at that, I'll turn it on. Then it'll take me like 2 minutes to like, I gotta press this button, because there's a lot of button combos and stuff in there. I gotta press this button, or I gotta press this button and do this to do that. So, and 2 years ago, I turned it on in my sleep and I play with it and do all that. So it's like, it's crazy how that works, man. And the human brain is actually pretty amazing, and that's crazy how like scientists say, we only use like 10% of our brain, because technically stuff that we do forget, it's in there, it's in our mind. It's memory. It's just got to be somehow extracted. Right. Sometimes things will come on later or triggered if you see something, and it's just our whole life, our eyes are perceiving images, and it's just loading. It's just an ongoing recorder. And even stuff that, like, heck, I don't remember what happened in 1996 on a certain day, or what happened on September 17th, but it's somehow back in my mind. I mean, 1995, whatever, I'm back in, fourth grade or something, and remembering what I did, but it's somehow recollected in my brain. It's just how we get extracted.
And it's like altered, like it's never like the memory, like they say, like the memory is like you say that after crime scenes and stuff happen, like if you don't talk to the person at the crime scene within like the first day or so, what they seen actually, like they can say, and also personal, like if something happened traumatic to like a relative or a friend, maybe they're gonna remember that, they're gonna try to remember more to get the person in trouble that did whatever they did. Or
because it's personal,
right? Or if it's or if the person that is a person that they love that did something bad, I don't remember what happened. Yeah, you know what I mean. So you can't. There's lie detector tests, but you can't go into somebody's brain and like spread it open. Like, I see there what happened, and or plug a record up to their head. Maybe in the future they'll be able to matrix it where they can put a something in the back of your head and like that output, maybe the USB. I don't know. I guess Elon Musk is working on that. But man, actually that'd be cool. I love to get loaded up on Japanese, man. Like just get that loaded up in the mind. Like, all right, cool, I'm good.
Oh man, I wish that. It's like I keep on forgetting. So it's I kept when I got here in 2017, going to Japanese social, like some of my Japanese friends like, man, where you been at? I'm like, man, work's taking hold. But that's one thing like I keep saying, and in the future I want to continue to learn, and actually the goal would be like learn Japanese.
I've been 11 years, man. I should know way more than I know, but
a lot of his hands gestures, and
I mean, I can get around, but car talk is cool because it's like the same-ish words, and it's like, and it even with like the the martial arts, like martial arts is like one of those. It's you learn proper jiu-jitsu here. It's everywhere the same movement, same maneuver, same etiquette, and things like that. So it's like unspoken things. Even with cars, like they know when you hear it, misfire in Japan, it sounds the same in Bosnia, sounds the same in Colombia, it's a misfire. You know what a misfire sounds like. So, you just kind of talk with hands and stutter and things like that. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, man, it's crazy how everything works and how the mind works and everything, man. We do gotta shut it down, man, because I told her I'll be back by 11 and do some stuff. It's Saturday here for the guys who don't know and everything out there, man. But we can keep talking, man. But we definitely my feeling again is. I tell guys, man, I'll see, like, I travel a lot, so odds are, man, we'll run into each other. You'll probably be back, and you'll have a reason to come back to Japan for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
You'll probably get stationed back here.
I feel connected to this place. I mean, this would be like a long-term goal somewhere, to come back and leave. I just feel kind of a calling here. Yeah. Ever since just being a kid, just first impression just feels like I'm feeling someone's calling me back in Japan. Yeah. So, but I've been in my military career, been bouncing back from Korea and Japan. So it's pretty interesting. So
I guarantee, man, even if you don't come back to Misawa, man, you'll end up back here, man. You say you're gonna do 20 plus. You're definitely probably, because I'm pretty sure if your assignment comes up, you're not like, nah, I don't want to go back there. Yeah. So some people, they get a feel of it, feel of Misawa. Well, again, kind of about start over again, man. A lot of guys, when I first came to Japan, I was kind of angry that I got Misawa because I didn't know anything. I never heard. I just knew Misawa was up there. I didn't know anything about the weather or anything. I just found out that when I got here. So when I got here in August 1st, 2008, it was scorching hot, man. It was like, and I came through the airport. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, I'm like, damn, it's going to be like this. And they were like, nah, dude, actually 2 weeks from now, it's going to be freezing. Sure enough, man, 2 weeks from when I got there, it just like switch. And then like wintertime is here. And then the same thing, like it'll be like, switch, next day is warm.
Yeah.
And
it's like that Texas weather.
People get sick, man. And so when I got here, then I realized, MSP. So I went my first day here. I went to the track. My first day here, I got my license the first day. I got here and he was like, the meeting's going on. Let's take you to the thing, and E Club. I got my 4AJ the first day. First day I got here, I got my 4AJ. I bought a GTST R33.
Was that the first time driving the right-hand drive?
No. I drove a Skyline in America before.
Oh, okay,
it was legal,
cool.
But
nice.
It was one of those ones that was there way before 25. It was a GTST.
So you had that already. Yeah,
feel. I already drove it.
You drove a right-hand drive in the right-hand drive world.
Yeah,
it sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so I drove it over there. Then what I started doing with the game, I would, before I came here, I would start putting the shifter on the left side, so on the Gran Turismo. So I would just get you. So when I got over here, man, I went to the track. I had a car within 2 weeks. I was like set. Like I was putting video. I mean, it was just like, it wasn't no, like some guys get here, they'll be here a year and a half, then I'll eventually get up to be over there. Like, dude, I did everything within 72 hours. That and that just started the thing. I met the track owners. We became, now we're business partners, and they don't see me, but he knows why I'm not at the track. He knows as a business owner what's happening and why I'm not there. So it's pretty cool, man. And how
still hadn't got to drive out there. That would have been cool. Well, car sat, but it's just the job to sacrifice. But it's an awesome track, man. MSP. It's like you can go there anytime during the week, and I'm like, I didn't realize that because I've never been to a track, even if I'm just there to watch, not pay an entrance fee. Yeah, so you can just go there, and there'd be certain days of the week that it's open. Like you literally could have the track yourself, dude, and it's a nice track.
Many times I've done it many times, man. Like I've done many, and that's the reason why the advancements in skills and everything, which just went from like I didn't start drifting to 2007. Well, really, like on a track, and then when I got here, man, within like 2 years, the amount of track time I was able to get, man, it just leveled up, man. It just leveled up. And if you have access to do something, human nature to mind, like the more you do it, like just the more you do it, you're gonna get good at it, man.
Yeah, and it just becomes instinctive. Yeah. Like you just like you feel, you don't think about it.
You just do it. So like I haven't in 4 years I've been running this thing. I've probably been to the track maybe to drift, maybe like a solid 10 times, which is nothing compared to how I used to go before. And I get in the car, I'll test the brakes, fill a clutch, and then I'm like it never stop. Yeah. And then it's like, man, how do you it's like, dude, because you do something so long, it becomes part of you. It's just what you do. You feel it. You just driving normal home from work, and then you get into like a little slide with the car. Then I'm sitting in the stager, I'm sideways, and I'm just like this, and I'm like just drifting, and it's nighttime, and I'm like just sitting back chilling, listening to like some anime soundtrack.
Yeah, like the Initial D.
Yeah,
no, I got it on my iPod.
Yeah,
too,
so it's like, oh, I'm
I'm
sideways again. Cool.
The anime music. No, it's catchy.
Yeah,
man. Like you playing the Initial D video games. Like
I mean, that's when I first got here. When I got here, my first day in Japan. After I got settled in the room and everything, I had brought a laptop with me. First thing I did, loaded up Initial D. Like, I'm in Japan watching Initial D. And then when I went down to Akina, we were in a hotel. I don't know why, man. It's like a fanboy thing. We were like at the base of Mount Akina, Mount Haruna. Yeah. I'm like, I pulled up on my phone, like, Initial D is like, that's the mountain right there. And I'm watching it on the thing, dude. And like, it's like a lot of.
It's a great introduction. Actually, explain a lot of the Japanese like street racing car culture.
Yeah,
you know?
It was, man, for anybody out here who was knocking Initial D, man. That outside of him, him winning a bunch with the Hachiroku, little, they got to make it there. But everything, because Tsuchiya, Drift King was actually what is it? What do they call that thing when like somebody, he was like an advisor. So everything, the characteristics of the car, what it can and can't do, is all real. That's all. That's not BS.
And from what I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They did kind of. He used to take his. Actually, he devised it. It was like, even him as Takumi, it was like part of his own character.
Yeah.
That's who he was.
They took. I mean, the owner. The writer of that definitely put Tsuchiya like using the Hachiroku and to make clear, Tsuchiya-san and versus like somebody that's not, he could beat people in the Hachiroku, his Hachiroku. He could beat GTRs, like he could beat, and a good driver can beat. But it's like if it's two drivers match and they're good and good, the Hachiroku is not going to keep up with the Evo. It's not going to keep up with R32. It's not going to keep up with RX-7 because they're two skilled drivers, but that guy has more power. It's just going to go faster. But if a guy is highly skilled in a Hachiroku and a guy is just like some average Joe, he would beat. The guy would go fast in a straight line and then he would crash. You know what I mean? So it is real, man. Like, not saying that he couldn't beat all those people in real life. The conditions would have to be right. But for all those guys that are knocking Initial D or saying is no, it's real, man. Trust me, from a pro driver, to a person that's driven multiple cars into finally driving Hachiroku, that car does nothing for you. Everything is manual. Steering, inputs, everything is manual. There's no assistance.
Yeah, and that's where it really takes the skill of the driver, because now, like, excuse me, newer cars these days, it's just like with the new R35. I mean, that car is like way superior.
Yeah,
and it doesn't but it drives itself. Yeah, and if you're an old school driver and you're like wanting that driver engagement, like it takes that away. Yeah, and so
it also makes I ran into a guy that I was like, man, the guy offered to drive the car and I was like, nah, I don't want to drive it, the 35. And the dude, like, I mean, I'm a driver. I drive and I put down what I put down. But I'm comparing the S14 to a 30. That's two different but my time was what it was. This guy, he was like, I was like, for the time he got, I'm like, oh, you drive? I was like, nah, man, I just put the pedal down. And he's not a racer. The car he literally pushed the gas and just held on. And he did like a record-setting lap. And for that car, it was like a 1:10, 1:11, 1 minute lap of running or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm a driver, and it's like 1:14. But again, comparing the S14 SR20 to a 35, not a good comparison, because I guarantee you, if I got in that 35, I would put an even lower lap because I can push. He was just going fast and stop. Then going fast, and then when he's going over the hill, the computer is sensing slipping, adjusting everything. He just pushed the pedal down and pressed the gears. So like it makes people, it puts them into like a pro class when they're not pro drivers. So like the car does, I mean, nothing against it, but then you take a highly skilled driver and put him in a 35, a weapon. Yeah, I mean, it's a total 32. That's why everybody like, what's so special about this car? I'm like, dude, look it up, man. The car was banned. The car was banned from racing because it was so good. Like, that's why that's why the 32 is so popular versus 33 and the 34. They did okay in the Calisonic stuff, but not like the 32. Not like 32 in Australia and Bathurst. And
it just created the pathway of the platform. And then the interesting thing is, if you know the Skylines and, the history and how it evolved from, the Skyline into the GTR.
Yeah.
But the GTR R35 was just built off the R32 platform.
Yeah.
That was the name, the original Godzilla. I mean, I do like the Yokosuka Skyline.
Yeah.
And
it's a different.
It was different. Different. That was the first GTR, but it's in its own class. Right.
And even even the Yokosuka the Yokosuka history is more the amount of, you go by wins, like the meaningful wins, like in big stuff. The Yokosuka, which Tsuchiya drove those, the Yokosuka has a rich history of racing as well. So that pushed the price up. The nature of the car pushed the price up and everything. Then the Ken and Mary, you don't see nobody really. While they look cool, I want one. You don't really see people like Ken Mary. Like Ken Mary really didn't do with the Yokosuka.
Yeah.
Yokosuka and the 32. Those two alone, they've done a lot for that name. Everything else, the 33, it is what it is. 34 is newer. 35 is just like the wild. It's not even a sky. People like it's not. It's GTR, it's a Skyline, and all that crap and everything. It is what it is. But it's just that those cars, for people out there, they're saying that, why are people so like fanboy over the car? I'm like, dude, because the history is deep. And it is what it is, man. But hey, man, we like I'm looking at my clock. We did solid 2 hours and 43 minutes.
It's good talk, dude.
So,
we keep on going.
Yeah, we definitely say I was supposed. It's 11:44 right now, and I said we were going to stop like 11. So I'm gonna message her and everything. But hey, again, man, guys. So there's just a testament of good people, good vibes and everything, man. No matter I'm going to. I don't want to sound like I'm defending myself, because I'm not a defensive person unless I have to be, but. I do know out there, man. There's stuff out there in the universe, and the way I deal with people and how I deal with different things. Depending on how the person interacts with me, you'll get a certain person. If you're cordial, nice, respectful, same to you, man. But if you try to be a jerk and all that stuff, I have no problem being that way. And people will say you should be the bigger man and all that stuff, but some people they never got that energy back.
Yeah.
So once they get it back, the next time I deal with them, they're a different person, because they're like, oh well, I can't say and do that. And most people are really nice and respectful, and they'll like, all right, turn out the cheek and won't say nothing. But for me, I'm not like I'm trying to school people, but I just do my part. Like with my kids are not going to act all certain ways because I'm not going to allow it. I wasn't allowed to act that way. As a result, my mom, I was raised, my dad, they separated and everything, but the stuff that my mom told me growing up, man, all that stuff translates into who I am right now, the business I run, how I run business, the morals and how I do my pricing and stuff like that, like you've seen, that all translates into how I was raised, and I'm going to do the same thing. And also for people who interact with me, man, I'll let them know, like, hey, man, I don't know where you were born or where you were raised, but that's just the way you're acting. It's not socially acceptable, man. You're not trying to be anybody's dad, but you don't walk into somebody else's life and then like, hey, I'm here, do what I want. That's not how it works, and that's why, again,
having that balance, the proper time, because the place, because sometimes you have to be.
And that's why
you're not, your first result is your first option isn't wanting to be aggressive, but again, there's a stand and defense. Like there's sometimes you have no other choice, right? And it's just standing your ground. But that's why, I mean, this the closeout again, man, on you, man. It's just like, again, I really appreciate you. Every time there was never, I mean, even, man, like this, sometimes like, you bought me food and I was actually kind of like, I was on a diet, so I felt bad, but I wanted to eat the chicken. And like you bought like the lemon pepper stuff or the stuff, and this dude just bring me like pizza. Like, you don't have to do that, man. It's just like you. This is the generosity, and it's something I love to do. You know,
I mean, a couple of times, a couple of cheesesteaks you got from Charlie's, man, it was like perfect timing because I didn't eat all day, and I was like, I'm gonna take that one, man. I'm not gonna like, no, actually, I will take that one. But when I ate something, and I was like, nah, I really do want those honey barbecue wings, but I gotta cut some weight, man. But to keep the body healthy, to do stuff like that. But man, like you always, every time you came, even the first interaction, man, you always. From now, man, it's like you've always checked, man. You've always been considerate, and that's what a lot of people. It seems like it's something everybody should do, but everybody doesn't. You know that everybody doesn't do that, man. So when somebody does that, that's why I was like, man, I got to get this guy on a podcast before he leaves out and everything. And it's pick and choose. It sucks that it's like that, but I knew it was gonna be a good conversation. And I know people out there are get something from it. And some people listen to this while they're driving to work, man. So again, man,
well, no, man, thanks. I'm honored that you asked me. So I was really, really excited. So this is actually my first time actually on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't do social media, but I just enjoy the conversations, and hopefully, I know people are watching, and you always got great wisdom to share, and I just enjoy our conversations. I know we had a lot of side chats. We're like, I'm not busy, but we just get deep, man.
We've done this is 2 hours, but we've done from the first time we met to the chat. We've done at least a solid 4 or 5 hours.
Bad because I'd be taken away from his work. It's like, I gotta get work done.
Most times you come, you'll call hit, so I'll be like, yeah, I'm good, or and then when you call, nah, I'm not good. So every time you call, it's like I'm kind of wrapping up for that day, because I do for the guys out there that don't know, a little bit before I close up, man, I do my quotes on 8 hour windows. So I'll work on the car, I'll be work on the car for 8 hours, but I also do a lot of work between 3 or 4 in the morning, because I can't, as being a single guy, I can't. If I try to only do 9:45 to 16, I would never get the cars done, because between that time I'm doing meetings, I'm doing quotes and stuff like that. So I do a lot of work during that time, but I still quote. I know how long it's going to take, how many hours it's going to take, and everything like that. So guys out there, man, it's definitely I quote based on 8 hours. If I quote on the time I actually work, if I actually in the shop, even though I'm in the shop, I'm not physically touching your car, I'm not going to charge a guy. And that's why my quotes are like that. Some people charge for the car just being in the shop. Maybe I should do that. I charge for the lift fee and stuff like that, but if I'm not physically touching the car, you don't charge a person for something you're not doing. You're not. That's the way my thinking is. Yeah. Maybe I'm like, oh man, you're dumb. That's not how the business works. But that's how I do it. So when I'm working on the car, I know it's going to take me an hour to do this. It's going to take me an hour and a half to do that. Under normal circumstances, if you got something rusted or something broke, or I find other mechanics errors, then I'll bring it up. Then we'll adjust from there. But for the most part, I know it's going to take me to clean, take off, do all the stuff per side, do all the brakes and all that stuff. It's 50 something minutes to an hour each shot with cleaning, taking all that stuff, adjustments and all that good stuff. So that's how I do it, man. But anyway, guys out there, man, I don't want to start talking again. But anyway, again, thanks to my guest here for being on the podcast again, taking time out of his life and doing his things out there. Guys out there, again, make sure you send questions and things out there. If you got any doing this podcast, you've heard some things. Again, he's went from enlisted to officer. So if you're enlisted and you're looking to go to OTS and things like that, definitely hit me up. I'll give it to Brown here, and I'm pretty sure he'll be able to give you some.
And I'd love to help out.
Yeah,
too.
So definitely do that if you're looking to go OTS. Anything we talked about, for the guys out there looking to get into it, I got a lot of videos about how I got into it. So if you ask a question that I've already done, I'll link you, not because I'm trying to blow you off, but because I've already covered that. And then I can kind of expound on things if you got more questions out there. Again, time is very limited, so I can't answer everybody's questions. And I don't give tech advice because as a professional shop, I can't tell you how to put stuff on and then you put it on and then your car blows up and then all of a sudden, Pinku Style told me to do this. You can go on Google. I can assist technical advice with customers that I work on their cars because they customers, but I can't just give it out for free. It's insurance things and legality reasons why you can't do that and why you can't walk into Top Secret and ask for all the secrets. It don't work that way.
It's called Top Secret.
Yeah, it's called Top Secret, man. So anyway, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, and share if you would like to. And I'll see you guys on the next podcast. So it's going to be Donald and I'm Manny signing off from Massage Japan. See you guys later.